1. Good evening, everyone. It's Friday night, and there's no better place to celebrate Friday night than football at Vandebilt Catholic High School. My name is Steve Crispino. I'll be your play-by-play. Down on the field doing color, we have Brett YouTube. Brett, have you been able to take a look at those Terriers while they were warming up?
You know, Steve, I have. I've been down here on the sideline getting a good view of the players warming up. It looks like they're definitely amped, ready for some nice, crisp fall football weather. We've got a nice, cool night out here, and these guys look like they're motivated to play against a good competition this evening.
Brett, I love your positive thinking. I wouldn't call it cool, but it's cooler than it has been. And look, it's going to be a dogfight. It's the Terriers against the Bulldogs, and it usually is. Lutcher is a historical powerhouse in 4A. Vandebilt's had a lot of success, and I expect a really good football game tonight.
You know, Steve, Lutcher's one of those names when, you know, in the South, especially in South Louisiana, you hear that name year-round. You know, they're always, like you said, a powerhouse in football, so it's good to see them down here in our area and get to see a good competition tonight.
Yeah, Vandebilt's got some players this year. You know, they've got a few guys we'll talk about throughout the game who get some college looks, and you know, Lutcher always has guys that are moving up to that next level. And I'm just excited for the night. Vandebilt looks like they're getting ready to storm the field. So why don't we just take a look and as the color guard marches out there, and we'll see as they break through that tunnel. Which is always a surprise. You never know when they're coming through, do you, Brett? Do you see them lined up? Have they gone into the tunnel?
I see the banner raised. There's some coaches sneaking out of the tunnel. Let's see. I haven't seen the players quite yet, Steve, but they're gearing up as it appears.
They look like they're ready. I can tell you the cheerleaders are ready. Oh, no, Vandebilt just exited the locker room. And it looks like they're sending their captains out to the middle of the field to go out for the coin toss, and everyone else is running towards the tunnel right now.
Yep, now we can see Vandebilt coming out live into the tunnel. They're filing out of the clubhouse here.
You know, when I was down on the field earlier, Vandebilt, they dress out a lot of kids from 9th grade to 12th grade, but you know they've got some dudes this year. Vandebilt has a lot of size in that offensive and defensive line. Quarterback is 6'4", 6'5". You know they've got some size to go along with their skill this year, and it's really good to see.
Yeah, Steve, I can definitely tell you, I'm standing here about 10 yards away from Vandebilt as they're coming out onto the field, and there's definitely some guys out here, some as they say, some real dudes out here with size and definitely look the part. Hopefully tonight they can put it on the field and show it out.
Well, I'm looking forward to it because this football game is a big one in district. I believe it's 8-4A, but they're both 4A. They're in the same district. Vandebilt 4-0, Lutcher 2-2. When you look at max preps, Lutcher's ranked 49th, Vandebilt 72nd. That's in the state overall. I'm not sure. I do have the, actually, let me find it. I have the top 10. Let me pull that up real quick. I had just looked at that before we got out here. And it looks like Class 4A, Vandebilt is ranked number 12. And Lutcher is about number 16 with Edie White down at 18. You know, Vandebilt Edie White is always going to be the big game of the year for them, but because they're both in the select division. Of non-select, Lutcher is the biggest game they play. All district foes. You're getting into the part of the schedule right now that is district play. It matters, and beating a Lutcher tonight would go a long way towards Vandebilt's power rankings. Because Lutcher, as like I said, it's always a powerhouse, and I think the Terriers are getting ready to take the field.
Here they come.
Great camera work from our guys down there on the field at HTV. Those guys look pumped up.
Yeah, Steve, there's definitely down here on the field, you can definitely feel the juice from the stadium. Like always, Vandebilt has a great home crowd. Stadium still got some people filing in. but it's already a packed crowd, and it's just going to be an excess overflow, standing room only kind of game tonight with the powerhouse of Lutcher being here. So I think the local community is coming out hard to support the Terriers and show them a good time.
Well, Friday night football in Louisiana just keeps getting bigger and bigger. It may not be quite what it is in Texas, but you know what? Louisiana's got some dang good high school football. You can look at it in the recruiting rankings. Louisiana always has guys in the ESPN 300. The state is scattered with those guys, big guys, skill players. Louisiana puts out some good football players.
Yeah, when you look at the college ranks, Steve, I would be willing to bet that on a per capita basis, Louisiana's up there, if not in the top one or two, at worst top 3 or 4 in a per capita basis. Like you said, just skill positions, offensive linemen, defensive linemen. In years past, we hadn't done great in quarterbacks, but for the last several years, Louisiana's been up there in quarterback rankings as well.
Oh, yeah. Louisiana has Elijah Haven coming out this year. LSU just had a commit from the quarterback from Evangel, a 4-star guy, coming out the following year. I believe it's Lamar Brown is a 5-star guy going to LSU this year. And then they have another one from Ed Carr. I mean, LSU recruits Louisiana. You can look up and down their roster. They've been able to hold generally 7 of the top 10 guys in the state of Louisiana are going to be committed to LSU in any one year.
Yeah, you hear LSU coaches, whether it's under Brian Kelly or former coaches at Orgeron, you always hear we've got to build a fence around the state. And usually if you recruit Louisiana very well, like you said, if I can get 8 of the top 10 or 18 of the top 20 or so, and then you supplement those with a few out-of-state guys, you'll be doing well. But building a fence around the state of Louisiana definitely will get you some top talent, no doubt about it.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to take a moment as they stand for the national anthem and the prayer.
I ask that you please rise, stand, and quietly and kindly remove your hats for tonight's invocation. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. Heavenly Father, we thank you for bringing us together tonight for this game. We are grateful for the gift of competition, the lessons of teamwork, and the friendships that grow from moments like these. On September 26, our school community remembered the 15th anniversary of the tragic passings of students T.J. Cantrell, Gabrielle Hebert, Megan Hitt, and Ian Haydell. Let us in this time of prayer pause for a moment of silence to remember them and lift them up to the Lord. Tonight, we have the blessing of celebrating a classmate and friend of these students, alumni Elijah McGuire. We give you thanks for the talents you placed in him, the hard work and perseverance he showed in his years at Vandebilt Catholic, ULL, and into the NFL. Tonight, as his jersey number 15 is retired, we honor not just his athletic achievements, but the inspiration he has been to younger players, to this school, and to this community. May his life continue to reflect your goodness and encourage others to use their gifts.
And we are back. I did not pay attention to see who won the toss. Brett, did you get to see who won the toss?
Steve, I did not. I was on the opposite side of the field talking to a couple of spectators here, getting the feel of the crowd. I did not get a chance to see that. I'm kind of watching on the sidelines here to give us a little heads up, but I did not see it. I apologize.
Looks like Vanderbilt's sending out their kick team. So the Lutcher Bulldogs will receive. We are ready for some football. You know, it's a special night at Vanderbilt, retiring the jersey of the great Elijah McGuire. Elijah had a heck of a career here at Vanderbilt. I was fortunate at that time. My kids were coming here.
As we get
and
ready
man,
to
he
start
was
the first
fun
quarter,
to
I
watch.
want to remind you that
It
the
was
first
rare
quarter
you
is
saw Elijah play a
presented
game
by
into the second half. He generally had enough touchdowns, enough yards. Unless it was a big game, Elijah would play the first half, dominate the first half, and then just kind of watch it out from there. He could have really padded some stats. He was a special, special player.
Yeah, Steve, Elijah is one of those guys where, you see good talent all the time on all these different schools that we watch here locally. But when you see a talent like Elijah, it's just head and shoulders above what you're used to seeing. Most kids that we see have some skill, and some of them are really, really good. But when you see that ultra level talent that is going to be a Division I player, it's just at a different level and just incredible to watch. Just God-given natural ability.
Kind of like you had, Brett, when you played basketball at Ellender, correct?
That's right. I mean, no one handled the ball better than I did. Except when you needed 2 points a game, I was your man.
It's a shame that they didn't have social media back then and cell phones that people could have really got some good clips of you on the sideline.
Yeah. Fortunately or unfortunately, I'm not quite sure what it feels like these days. Looking back at my career, just jealous of these kids that, best times of their lives, things that they'll remember the rest of their lives, and being with their friends, just a special time in these kids' lives.
And that's why we're happy to bring this to you live. There's people who just can't make it to the game. Although I tell you, it is filling up. It looks like there are a lot of people making it to the game. But it's good to be able to watch your extended family, be able to watch you here. Something that'll kind of live forever on video. And that's definitely. I wish that would have been around when I played here in '84. I didn't play football, I played basketball, but that unfortunately just wasn't available. These kids don't realize how nice it's going to be when they turn 50 and 60 to be able to go back and watch themselves.
Yeah, like you said, Steve, it's for the family especially. We both got family that live out of town, and I have 2 daughters who are growing up into athletics. They're big soccer players, and just the technology that our world exists in today, our family members are able to watch them from across the state and actually out of state as well.
Absolutely. And I keep telling my kids I was a good basketball player, but with no video evidence, they're not buying what I'm selling.
Well, I don't blame them one bit.
Thanks, Brett.
Yeah.
All right. We are ready for kickoff, and we have senior Luke Sidden, number 85, kicking off for the Terriers. Luke's got a pretty strong leg. I've seen him kick it into the end zone. And, Brett, I know you were mentioning the cool weather, and I appreciate that you're calling this game from the sidelines. I just wanted to remind you, the cool weather is in the box with the AC, so thanks a lot for mentioning that.
Yeah, cool is a relative term, I guess. When I said cool, I guess I meant relative to the 103 with 100% humidity we're used to.
Right. Yeah, considering this is the 5th game of the season, we haven't had a sweater or jacket game quite yet.
I'm looking forward to it, though.
Yeah, me too. But it is a beautiful night for football. Had a little bit of rain earlier. It really doesn't look like the field, it doesn't look like it's holding any water on the sidelines. Field looks like it's in good shape. It's been dry all week. You hate when you have these 2 good football teams that they have to play in the slop. It changes the game. So if the field is in good condition, I expect a really good football game from these guys.
Yeah, I've been walking down here all pregame, and it's in good shape.
Oh, squib kick, and I'm not sure who they're kicking away from, but that was a nice kick down to about the 34, 33, 34, 36-yard line, and the Terriers will set up their defense. The Terrier defense, I've been to a few games this year, Brett. That Terrier defense is stingy. I'm not sure they play the level of competition of Lutcher, but, they've played the likes of Central Lafourche, 55-12, John Arrett, 30-7. I was at that game. Sulphur, 44-14, and Morgan City, 50-20. Vandebilt's undefeated. Lutcher played Slidell and lost to them. First play, run up the middle. This is a freshman quarterback who they say is electric, and he gets 9, maybe 10 yards on the first carry. Not a good sign, but got to get used to it. Well, Ron Charles, he's a 2029 class, quarterback freshman. They before the game, I was down on the field talking to some coaches, and they said that kid can really, really play. Doesn't throw the ball a lot. As you would expect, a freshman, still learning the system. but he's just such a good athlete. When he tucks it and runs, he got 9 yards playing 2nd and 1.
Yeah, that was a good play around the left side. I'm interested to see, like you said, size-wise, just down here on the field, definitely Vanderbilt's edge.
Swing pass out to the left, and you can see the speed that Lutcher has. That's a good pickup of about 14 yards, no flag, so that's a 1st and 10 Lutcher. Pass out to Ashton Stark.
Well, like we said, Vanderbilt has the edge on size, it appears, on the sideline, but when you've got speed, sometimes that'll counteract any size disadvantage you have.
Absolutely, and Lutcher can't have continued success without having outstanding coaching. So, that just makes a difference. Drops back to pass, throws this one deep, wide receiver, drops the football. He was 5 yards behind 3 defenders, which has been odd this year. Vanderbilt's been good. Logan Email, the safety, was back close to him, and Logan's getting a few looks from college. He's a little undersized, but he's got a lot of interceptions, exceptionally smart football player. But he just took the ball deep, and it was a great throw. That's a little bit scary if that's the way tonight's going to go. I mean, that was a really good throw from a freshman quarterback.
Yeah, that looks like total confusion in the Terrier secondary there. Like you said, number 19 for the visitors here was way behind the defense, and except for the drop, that would have been 6 points for sure.
Playing 2nd and 10. Charles calls for the football. Got a flag on the play. Looks like it might be a delay of game. Definitely a freshman-type mistake right there. So we'll play 2nd and 15.
Yeah, that's one of those plays, Steve, where like you said, you can tell the freshman quarterback just not used to the reps quite yet. It's still, relatively early in the season, so he's still getting used to maybe looking at the signals from his coaches on the sideline, looking at the play clock.
Hand off up the middle. Great stop. A host of Terriers down there. I don't even know how you picked. Looks like number 53 was down there. That is Josh Fairchild. Outstanding stop in the middle of that. I mean, that was stopped before it started. They're playing a 3rd and 15.
Yeah, that was running back Bryce Thibodeau up the middle, and he just ran into a complete wall of Terriers.
Charles, standing still, drops back, cocks a throw. Fairchild chasing. Well, you could tell he's slippery, but Vanderbilt got to him before he could gain all the yards. They're going to play a 4th down from the 46-yard line. Looks like they're bringing in the punt team.
Yeah, it looked like quarterback Ethan Henry there just didn't look comfortable in the pocket, so he started to try to scramble up. But like I said earlier on the 3rd down play, on 2nd down play, just ran directly into a wall of Terrier defensive linemen.
Back punt. Nice punt. And they're going to let that one go. Hopefully.
Wow.
Okay, that was a bad decision by the Terriers right there. That punt is down at the 1-yard line.
Yeah, Steve, on that's one of those plays where, most coaches to tell you put your heels on the 10-yard line. If it goes over your head, let it go. If it's in front of you, catch it. It looked like the returner was up maybe towards the 15-yard line on that one, so maybe giving a little bit too much space, but just didn't work out. The ball, I can tell you, Steve, I'm directly in line with the ball. It is inside the 1-yard line.
Wow, Brett, you made it all the way down the field and you're not breathing heavy?
Well, I have my mic muted every now and again when I need to take a deep breath.
Vanderbilt brings out their offense, and that is a big offense. Quarterback Ethan Henney is about 6'4", 220 pounds. Silas Hill, big number 73, a Nichols commit, is about 6'6", 360. And Philip Sinak, who I believe is playing center, he's getting some looks in college. He's only a junior, but he's a big boy. Vanderbilt has been blessed with a very big offensive line this year. And they're protecting a big quarterback, got good running game, good wide receivers. Vanderbilt's very solid on offense.
Yeah, this will be a play where you definitely need to lean on your sizable offensive lineman, get you just a little bit of breathing room, so you're just not even taking a snap inside your own end zone. Expect to see a quarterback sneak here.
And he under center, hands it off up the middle to. Trying to see. Looks like number 3. Okay, I wasn't sure. Logan Email, who's a defensive back, who I called earlier as a safety, but they had him back there. Now Bryce Thibodeau, their running back, is back in the game, or in the game for the first time. Bryce has a combined 500 yards of total offense this year from the running back position through 4 games. He's been a difference maker. And he calls for the football. Quick handoff to Thibodeau, and he cuts it up the field. Very shifty. It looks like he's going to be about 2-3 yards short. 2 yards short of the first down.
Yeah, that was a good run over the left side, able to evade the tackler right at the line of scrimmage. Good blocking out on the edge by Vandebilt there by the wide receiver.
That was a good tackle by Lutcher, because if he would have broke that one, he would have clearly had a first down. So it'll be interesting to see on 3rd and 2 if Vandebilt decides to throw the ball. And he's got a big arm. Nope, they run it back up the middle. Looks like he's got the first down plus a few. That's a nice, solid play when you backed up that far, when you backed up to the goal line. So first down, Terrier.
Yeah, Vanderbilt's done a good job, just like I said, trying to get out of the shadow of their own goalpost. They're already up to the 19-yard line, the 14-yard line, just trying to get some breathing room.
Well, look, and you can look at the size difference between that offensive line and defensive line. So, I think you're going to see Vandebilt. Lutcher has a lot of speed, so running it outside might not be the ticket like they tried on the first play. Just run it up the middle, use your size, and see if you can wear them down. Henny back to pass, throws it wide open, and he's got about an 18-yard pickup. Corey Bourgeois, sophomore wide receiver, he got behind the defense, and Henny just took a 2-step drop from the shotgun and just threw a beautiful ball about 10 yards after the catch.
Yeah, Lutcher looked like they were playing some kind of zone defense on that one, and wide receiver for Vanderbilt was able to just sit down in an open spot and just settle down, and quarterback able to find him, hit him in stride.
So they're playing 1st and 10. It looks like from about the 31-yard line. And in motion, he sets, and he calls for the ball, and handoff. Looks like a little trap play, trying to do some razzle-dazzle with Thibodeau. That didn't go anywhere. That maybe 1-yard pickup.
Yeah, Thibodeau did a good job there just getting back to the offensive line. Lutcher had plenty of penetration early on that one. And before the snap, I saw Lutcher doing a lot of pre-snap motion on that one, trying to maybe confuse Vanderbilt a little bit.
Well, it might have worked that time. We'll see what happens. See if Vanderbilt can respond. It's 2nd and long, 2nd and 9. Motion man for the Terriers, and he calls for the ball. Throws it out wide. Lutcher was in a blitz on that side. They called the right play for that blitz, defensive end blitz. It looks like they're going to give them enough for the first down on a pickup of 10 yards.
Yeah, that's when you talk about the perfect play call, when you have a blitz coming off of the offense's right side and you're running a swing pass out of the backfield, that you cannot draw up a better play design for a defensive call.
Very sure-handed receiver, Henri Lepere. He gets a lot of action. Vanderbilt lined up in the shotgun again. And off Thibodeau, he's going to try and take it wide, and lost a couple yards. That's going to be the challenge. Can they take it wide? They've had success up the middle. They've had success throwing the ball. The 2 times they've run wide, they've really struggled. Lutcher's got some speed out there, and let your big guys push those front guys out of there and just move that ball up the middle.
Yeah, like we said earlier, when Vanderbilt was on defense, they definitely have the size tilted to their advantage, and when you run side to side on a fast team, you're usually not going to win that battle.
That's playing 2nd and 11, maybe 12. And he's got the ball. He looks left. He's going to throw right. It looks like he's going to throw the ball deep, wide open. Beautiful ball again to Corey Bourgeois. Very similar to the first route that Bourgeois caught.
You know, that defensive alignment that Lutcher's sticking with seems to be some type of zone, and Vandebilt's just able to get behind it every time and just settle down into an open spot, and quarterback completing accurate passes, which is what you got to do against a zone.
Yeah, he's 3 for 3. He's throwing the ball really well. Back in the shotgun. He throws it out wide to LePere, and once again, you know, trying to throw that little wide receiver screen to the outside. That one went nowhere. There was no blitz that time. Lutcher stayed home. Not much you can do. Nice tackle by Caden Parquette, number 72. I was down on the field talking to Vanderbilt's coaches and said, hey, who scares you on that team? And they said number 72 is an undersized defensive lineman, but he's very experienced. He's been playing a long time in that system. I guess he's been playing since he's a freshman, sophomore, but they said he is scary good for his size.
Yeah, you definitely see he's got a nose for the football early on.
Motion man. Handoff around, and again, tried to get wide, could not do it.
Yeah, these are the
Jay Smith tried to get wide, and it went nowhere. So the drive is now, you're at 3rd down and 12 from the 42-yard line. You know, I'm imagining if Vanderbilt wants to keep this drive alive, they're going to have to throw the ball on 3rd down and throw it deep.
Yes, it's still early, very, very early here, but you got to see how Vanderbilt coaches. You'd like to see him maybe adapt a little bit. I know you want to keep it wide. You can't just keep doing up the middle, but obviously that's not working. So let's see if they stick with what's got them going so far.
Oh, incomplete pass. Had to kind of rush that one a little bit. So that's going to bring up a 4th and 12. I'm sure Vanderbilt's going to send out the punt team. It's a shame to see that drive start at the 1-yard line and stall at about the 40 of Lutcher, but you know, look, it's a good drive. They know they can move the ball. They're just going to have to stick to that game plan and be consistent to what's working. You know, Brett, you mentioned, you know, you want to try a bunch of different things. For you older people out there, old Nebraska and Oklahoma, they ran that wishbone, and they were just running it, and you knew they were doing it, and you still couldn't stop it.
Yeah, you know, in today's world, the talent and the athleticism of these kids, sometimes you see what works, and I'm going to run it until you stop me.
Lutcher put on quite a rush on that one. They punt deep. Ball's caught at the 9-yard line. He gets outside. I don't see a flag. Oh,
there's
no.
one.
I guess that's why they didn't kick it deep earlier on the kickoff. Number 1, Ashton Stark, takes it to the house, 92 yards.
All right, we got a flag on the sideline here, Steve, about the 25-yard line. I think we're going to get Lutcher on a block in the back, I believe.
Wow, I missed that. I thought I had seen one right around the 10-yard line, but let's see. It looks like they're walking everybody back, so you're right. Let's see what he says. Personal foul. I don't know what that is.
Oh, that is a blindside block.
Okay, blindside block. Very fortunate for the Terriers because that'll bring the ball from the 25 probably down to the 10 or 15. It looks like they threw it. They're marking the 24, so they're going to step it off from the 24. I don't know if it's half the distance, so let's see.
Should be half the distance on inside the 30. We'll see where they
bring it down to the 12. It looks like the officials are slightly confused themselves. But Vanderbilt dodges a bullet. I'm not. You know, they already oh, nope, they're going a full 15 yards. So it is down to the 9 from 24 to 9, a full 15-yard penalty. Dodged the bullet right there. They kicked it to number 1. They didn't do it on the kickoff. They did it on the punt. They may not do that again.
Steve, I think you called it. I think we saw why they did not kick it deep on the opening kickoff of the game. You saw some raw talent coming from Lutcher on that one.
Yeah, that he really, when he hit that sideline, he hit that other gear, and there was nobody near him. Handoff up the middle, picked up maybe a yard. Good defense. Logan Email from the safety position was up in there. He was on a blitz, low run blitz right there. And he was able to get him in the backfield before he was able to get those legs running. So pick up of 2, 2nd down and 8 from the 11.
Yeah, number 53 for Vanderbilt, Josh Fairchild from his defensive line spot. Definitely had some early penetration from the outside, forced it back inside where his help was.
Quarterback sneak. Vandebilt swarming defense gets him back at the 10. I guess they threw him to the 8, but they hit him at the 10.
Yeah, two plays in a row. That's Josh Fairchild stepping up and just filling the hole on the line and just meeting the ball carrier right at the point of attack.
Quarterback Charles in the shotgun. They need 9. He don't move a lot when he takes that snap, but he's telling his wide receiver to go, and his wide receiver's covered. That looks like, I guess, the ball crossed the line of scrimmage because he wasn't throwing to anyone.
Yeah, he was outside the pocket.
Yeah, outside the pocket. He got it past the line of scrimmage. Excellent defense by the Terriers. I mean, excellent defense.
Well, that was what we call complementary defense. The defensive linemen of the Terriers here making good pressure. Number 19 for Lutcher had actually gotten behind a couple of his defenders, but thanks to the pressure of the defensive line, quarterback was just unable to find him downfield.
Well, that was a cornerback, Crash Menard, or a safety, and he was, when he got to the outside, he just went after him. And you know, I've been to a couple games, and Crash Menard he's a sophomore, and he's only about 5'8", 150 pounds, but he is relentless on the football field. And after that short punt, Vandebilt's back where that last drive ended on about the 40-yard line. So, you know, no harm, no foul. Let's get it started right here.
Well, and like I said a minute ago, that's complementary football. Your offense's first drive stalls out, but you decide to kick it deep and try to play field position, and that's one where it definitely worked in the Terriers' favor, where they get the ball back basically where they put it from just a few minutes ago.
Vandebilt's defense has really shown out this year. They are a tough, committed bunch. All right, and it looks like we have a minute 32 left in a very quick first quarter. Not sure, is there a timeout on the field?
Yeah, we have a couple of refs here huddling.
Yep, they pulling teams to the sidelines. You know, back a couple weeks ago, they were doing heat and humidity timeouts, but that was at the 6-minute mark of the quarters. So not quite sure what that discussion was. I'm assuming when you get into October, there's no more heat and humidity timeouts, or if the temperature's not above 90.
Yeah, down here on the field, actually pretty, like I said earlier, pretty good. But like you said, it's still warm. Once you get out there and start running around, you get nice and lathered up.
Yeah, I can see the flag in the end zone moving pretty good. They got a little breeze out there. That always helps. All right, well, we've got Henney in the shotgun, and Thibodeau flanked to his right. Makes a handoff on the read. It looks like he's going to roll out, and about a 10-yard pickup. Let's see if they give him the first down. They did. Well, I can't see where he's walking. They give out.
He's going to be just about 2 yards short.
No, about 2 inches short.
But I tell you what, that was a beautiful play by the wide receiver.
They gave him the first down.
Oh, there we go. Just a toe tap along the sideline, getting his feet down. That was an awesome play by the Terriers wide receiver.
Motion man for the Terriers. They're going to try that screen outside to LePere. LePere's able to pick up about 5 yards. That's the first play to the outside that's really worked. A lot of speed right there. Lutcher was able to get over. They had two corner and the safety that kind of bracketed him, but it's a good pickup on first down. You know, Vandebilt's getting down where they may be close to field goal range. It'd be 43 yards there. I'm not sure. I didn't watch the kicker in warm-ups. When most high schools, you got to be inside of a 40 for them to try.
Yeah, that's by far the most successful outside play we've seen from the Terriers tonight. Definitely 5-yard gain. Can't really ask for much more than that against this defense so far tonight.
Henney with a little pitch. He actually threw that forward. I would have called that an incomplete pass. At least from my angle, it sure looked like he threw that forward.
Yeah, down here on the field, Steve, it looked like it might be just even barely enough to be considered a lateral, but that's definitely what they're calling it on the field, as a lateral or backward pass.
And I guess they're not going to ask me to do a booth review, so I guess we'll just have to call that a fumble on the quarterback.
But we've got our surface down here on the field ready if they need me to take a look at it.
And that's the end of the first quarter, as we called it earlier, on a hard-fought first quarter, 0-0. It's not really what I was expecting. I tell you, I knew the Vandebilt defense was tough, but Lutcher's hanging tough also.
Yeah, both teams seem to be out here competing pretty good, and like you said, they're swarming around. Lutcher's speed is giving the Terriers a little bit of trouble so far, but they're on the move so far. So let's see if we can pick up the second quarter right and continue this drive.
Brett, we're going to bring it down to the field. If you want to get a little bit closer to the 50-yard line, they're honoring Vandebilt Catholic girls softball state champion, two-time state champion, record of 33-2.
Dedication and commitment, which still a sense of pride within all of us as Terrier fans. We'd like to recognize them individually.
Ella Oakwan, Lauren Beaudoin, Cassidy Schwest, Molly Gode, Ava Leeret, Molly Petrie, Megan Beaudoin, Michaela Langston, Caroline Morton, Claire Klingman, Hayes Rutledge, Annabelle Marciente, Lexi Mathern, Alea Kalas, Kale, Kinsey Arthur, Abigail Aguilard, and Callie Walk. Of course, they were under our state champion coach, James Spearman. Assistant coaches, Bree Aguilard, and our Hall of Fame coach, Margaret Johnson. One more round of applause for our 60th state championship, your Terrier softball team, state champs of 2025.
You know, Brett, that softball team is the two-time defending state champs. They lost no one. They had no seniors.
Congratulations to the Lady
So,
Terriers.
you know, they're obviously going to be the favorite for another 4A state championship. And Lauren Beaudoin, three-time All-State pitcher. I believe we're going to try to get her down on the field to talk to you in just a couple minutes. I'd like for you to ask her some questions about her commitment to Nichols and what she feels about this upcoming year.
Yeah, Steve, the Terriers softball team here, you can tell, like you said, they've reloaded and definitely going to be gearing up for another hopefully successful season here coming up soon.
Henning carries the ball up the middle on a quarterback draw. I think he was looking to throw, or there's a little confusion in the background, but they're going to play 4th and 6 from the third 27. I'm not sure if they're going to, looks like they're going to stay on the field. You know, what's the point of punting this? And if it's a little outside the range, I mean, you're not going to gain anything by punting the ball here, so might as well go for it. I feel like the Terriers have had a lot of success. Henny's been 4 of 5 throwing the football, so we'll see if he's putting it up. There's one back in the backfield, 4 wide receivers, no tight ends. It's all wide. Motion man going to throw the ball out to the sidelines, and he got it out to LaPere again. Outstanding play. And was it enough for the first down? Is down to the 20? Yep, absolutely. I mean, right at the marker. Beautiful play by Vandebilt. Brett, after this play, why don't we go ahead and get you to do that interview? I think you have Lauren Beaudoin and Hayes Rutledge down there with you.
That is correct.
That's Thibodeau around the left side. We've got a little bit of success. It looks like he picked up about 4. We'll go down to you.
Y'all's successful season last year. What do you think was the catalyst and what led to y'all's success last year?
I think our success came from our camaraderie as a team. I think that we all got along really well, and that kind of led to our success. And Coach Spearman, it was his first year as head coach, but he did a good job getting us all together.
How do you think going forward this year? Y'all haven't lost many players, so what are you expecting from this upcoming season?
We lost 9, so I think we're ready to do it again, but we have all the talent and opportunity to do it again. So
awesome. We're looking forward to it. Well, Lauren, we'll start 3-time All-State, 2-time state champion, Nichols State commit. Looking back on last season, what did you think about y'all's success last year?
I think we work great together as a team and put in all the work necessary to get there.
So what are you looking forward to as of right now? Obviously, you're excited about Nicholls State, committed to Nicholls. What are you thinking about your future at Nicholls State and being a softball player here in the state?
Well, I can't wait. I'm super excited and can't wait to play under those coaches and with those teammates.
Well, awesome. Girls, congratulations on y'all's success. Looking forward to a great year upcoming. Have a great night. Good seeing you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
All right, Brett. Thank you very much for that interview. Got an all-state pitcher and all-state catcher. Back to the action. Henny throws the ball deep. And it is out. The crowd caught it.
Pass intended for Bourgeois.
Right in his hand on a long third down play. Beautiful pass by Henny.
That's one that, as a fan, as a coach, as a player, you want to have it, but it's just one of those plays. Unfortunately, got away from it.
Yep. So each team has dropped a touchdown pass. Both defenses has dodged the bullet. We're playing a third and very long. It looks like about 17, maybe 18 yards. They're going to put the ball up, kind of in that no man's land again. They don't have to get it all because they're probably going to go for it on fourth down if they get a few. Looking for a screen pass. It opens up. And a very short gain right there. That was a very slow developing screen pass. Pick up about 4 yards. So Vandebilt's going to got a fourth and 15. And they are going to assume they're going to kick. Looks like they're going to, it's going to be about a 41-yarder.
This will be a challenge, Steve. Especially at this level in high school football, you're never quite sure about kickers, but obviously Vanderbilt's coaching staff has confidence in their kicker because this is definitely not a gimme by any stretch.
You know, what's good is they get to have a little bitty tee. At least the ball's not on the ground. We got a sophomore kicker, Ethan Prejean, who's gonna attempt a 41-yarder. Called a timeout. I'm not sure if you're calling a timeout to rethink kicking or rethink going for it.
Yeah, definitely. Before that play, Steve, we saw some late exchanges of players coming on and off the field. So I don't know if there was some confusion on the sideline between the coaches and the players, or miscommunication, or what happened on that one.
You know, Brett, they got a really good football game going on across the street over there at Terrebonne High. Terrebonne High is playing Destrehan. I'm assuming they're also in the second quarter. The score over there is 14-14. That's two good football teams. Terrebonne has an outstanding football team this year, and Destrehan's a lot like Lutcher. Destrehan, you can count on them being in the top 10 every year.
Yeah, Destrehan's one of those names you see around the state every year when it comes to playoff time and championship time, and good to see. Look, Terrebonne High for the last decade or two has kind of been making some noise here on and off, but definitely got some talent going for the last couple of years, and definitely this year so far, obviously they're hanging with a tough team like Destrehan.
Yeah, Terrebonne's been putting some guys to the next level. You know, a few years ago, number one player in the country, Mason Smith, signed with LSU out of Terrebonne. They had Jalen Lucas, who was there, Ja'Kai Douglas, who was there. Both, Ja'Kai played at Florida State, Jalen Lucas at Indiana. Of course, he transferred his senior year to Ed Carr after the storm, but played at Indiana. He's now down at Florida State. He was a Terrebonne guy. It's actually Ja'Kai's brother. This year, I think they have 3 linemen, is what Mr. Greg Harding was telling me. 3 linemen that are D1 prospects. And, in fact, Greg Harding's son, Gregory Jr., is playing safety at Nicholls this year. So Terrebonne has put the people to the next level.
Yeah, they've definitely stepped up their game.
All right, we got a 41-yard attempt here from Ethan Prejean, sophomore. It's up. It looks long, and it is no good. Oh, wow. From up here in the booth, that sure looked like it went through. Did he miss it left or right?
He missed that just a hair right, Steve. I mean, he had the distance, I believe, from my angle here on the field.
He had plenty of distance.
And it just sneaked away left. You know, that looked like, unfortunately, my golf shot on this earlier this week, but just couldn't stay quite straight enough.
Brett, that was much longer than any shot you hit on Monday, but good try.
Sometimes you just got to speak it into existence.
Well, I tell you what, it's good to keep in your back pocket to see that he's got that range. You know he'd want that one back. You know, Lutcher starting up about the 20-yard line. They don't have great field position, so Vandebilt didn't do themselves any harm other than leaving some points on the field. But tough fought, 0-0, 8:47 left in the second quarter. Got Taryn Charles still in at quarterback for Lutcher, the freshman. Toss the ball, looks like he dropped it, hands it off up the middle, and a lot of juking and dancing for a 3-yard gain, but outstanding run.
You know, Steve, one thing I've seen so far, but I only see both on both sides tonight, is quarterbacks not using that verbal cadence. They're kind of taking on what you see in the college game, where they're clapping their hands as a signal to the center.
Yep. That was Jamelon Joseph with a 3-yard carry, and Charles tries to take it around the left side.
Charles on the keeper goes nowhere,
and
maybe
went,
a yard or two.
Picked up 2, 3. It's going to be
Patterson
3rd and 4.
on the tackle with others. That'll bring up 3rd.
Yeah, that's another example tonight of what we've seen pretty much from the start of the game of the Terriers' defensive linemen just swarming and linebackers filling holes where it needs to be.
And look, they had him bottled up. It was very slow developing. All right, we got a 3rd and 4. See what Lutcher pulls out of the bag, but his big nose guard is right over that center. Oh, he fumbled the snap and pitch, and he's got to the outside. He's got a first down. He's going to the outside, and he picks up about 10, 15 yards.
Yeah, Steve, that's the speed we've been talking about all night. You think it's going to go for a negative play because he fumbled on the snap, but just the raw talent of Lutcher just being able to get outside of the Terriers' defense and just swing around the outside and just that speed killing right now.
Yeah, I mean, Jack Balgu, the outside linebacker, I think that fumble, he caused him to hesitate and go towards the ball. He was responsible for the pitch man, but the ball was on the ground, so he came to the inside, and they just got to the outside. Very fortunate fumble on Lutcher's part. Now you got a handoff up the middle, and that goes for about 2. Handoff again to Joseph.
Joseph on the
tough for them
carry.
to get that ball up the middle. You know, they struggle
Good
up
for
the middle
about
like
2.
we've been
D-Hart
struggling to the
and Moses
outside.
on the
Yeah, I was
stop.
going to say, we've got 2 teams here that are counterbalancing each other almost, where we got the Terriers who are trying to run everything inside and being successful, and then you've got Lutcher trying to go outside and be successful, and vice versa, where they're just not successful.
Charles calls for the football. You're right, it's silent. And he drops back to pass, and he's going to throw it deep. And he's got number 1. Oh, just off of his fingertips. You know, Brett, he threw that ball a good 45, 50 yards in the air. I mean, it was right on. He threw it everything he had. It was a
Pass
beautiful
intended
spiral.
for Ashton Stark, just out of range of
it
his
was
fingertips.
just out of the reach of
3rd
the wide receiver.
Yeah, I'm
down.
in line on the field with that play. I'm standing right at about the 10-yard line, able to see a clear picture of that one. And Lutcher's receiver had gotten behind the defense there, and it, like you said, that ball traveled at least 30 to 40 yards in the air.
Yeah.
Just about maybe 2 inches outside the outreach arms of their wide receiver.
They've got some outside speed. They've beaten our defense deep. Fortunately, he's not been able to collect on his 2 deep balls. But, you know, he takes his time in the pocket. So it looks like a hold right there. That'll be coming back. That was a 3rd and 7. He got about 12 on
Thomas
that.
Roussel
like
on the
it's
reception, but hold on, there's a flag.
Yeah,
in the
that flag
backfield.
came out pretty quick, so I think everybody in the stadium saw that one coming.
And it is
That's a holding penalty against
on
the
the
Bulldogs.
offense.
That'll nullify the catch.
So
Push him back
another
10
break
yards.
for the Terriers. He threw it to a wide open receiver right in
Make
the
it
middle
3rd
of the field.
and 17.
You know, he is, for a freshman, he is calm and cool in the
remind
pocket.
everybody that
He does not have jittery feet. You watch him take that ball, his feet are still, and he's just looking over the field. That's a lot of poise for a freshman.
Yeah, and on that play especially, a few times tonight, we've seen where his offensive line's giving him some time, and I've been able to watch him and just scan the field. He's making his progressions,
All right,
option
here we go.
1, option 2, and just being patient and studying the field.
3rd down.
So now we got a 3rd and long, about a 3rd and 16, 17. Takes the ball, takes a couple steps back. Vandebilt's rush. A jump, and a almost intercepted. That ball was
Charles pass broken up by the Terriers.
Of Gabe Douglas.
Gabe Douglas.
I tell you, his
Gonna
eyes
bring up
got
a
real
4th
big
and
on that. He
long for
didn't
the
have a
Bulldogs.
direct
They have to
line
punt.
to it, but thought it. He jumped the route. The ball was thrown a little bit to the inside of the receiver. Good defense.
Yeah, it looked like Gabe undercut his man on that one and able to get his hands on it. That's one where you maybe start thinking about where am I going to move to, who am I going to juke before I actually catch the pass, and maybe just lost a little bit of concentration and cost them an interception on that one.
All right, Lutcher to punt. Vandebilt at the rush. Fortunate to not have run into the kicker, and fair catch.
Fair catch.
Vandebilt down to
at the
32-yard line.
For the Terriers.
Hard
Called
fought
the
game,
32.
Brett. 6:11 to go in the half. 0-0. You know, the teams, Vandebilt has had a lot more success on offense than Lutcher, but Lutcher's clamped down when they've had to. And I don't know. You can't say enough about both these defenses are really stepping up.
Yeah, both teams are definitely playing their hearts out for sure. And this is the kind of game you wonder, can we get to 7 points? Can we get to 10 points where both defenses are battling, and it might be the first team to 10 points might get the victory tonight, depending on how we keep going. This is a pretty fast-moving clock so far tonight. So not a lot of penalties. Got a couple here, but not tremendous amount of penalties. So it's been a pretty clean game. So we'll see what keeps up so far.
Yeah, I think I can only remember 2-3 flags in the whole game so far. I'm looking down on the sidelines. I see Elijah McGuire has arrived. You walk just past him. You got to make sure that you get that interview with him at halftime after his celebration. You might want to remind him that HTV is going to be looking for an interview. Go walk over and talk to him and LaRussa. Yep.
Yeah, I'll definitely give him a shout here in a second.
He's down there with Coach Coleman.
Braden Duplantis.
Girls basketball team.
Braden
Lots
Duplantis.
of success for Coach Coleman. I think he has
Braden
a state
Duplantis.
championship under his belt himself.
Yeah, Steve, I just had a quick second to say hello to Elijah, and he said he'll definitely join us here at halftime.
Get me an autograph, Brett. All right, man in motion. Henny hands it off up the middle. You got Thibodeau runs into a
Thibodeau head off up the middle. Gets a couple.
Picks up one.
Bring up second and 8.
That might be the first play we see tonight where inside run did not go for at least 3 or 4 yards.
Elijah
looks like they gave it
to.
I don't know. Didn't look like it from here, but we'll take it.
Webster.
Henny in the shotgun again. Got the ball. He's rolling right. Throws the ball out to the outside to number 11. Looks like they picked up
Bourgeois
about
out on the
12 yards.
flat. On the deep out.
Bourgeois.
And that is good for another Smoothie King. First down.
Caught that ball going down to his knees.
Yeah, that's one where he had to go down and get it right along the sideline, and he adjusted well on that one.
Ball sits at about the 48-yard line. Vandebilt moving the ball, 1st and 10. Thibodeau's going to take it to the outside after he bottled up. He's got 10, running out towards the sideline. Then that's got to be a flag.
Yep. Yeah, there's 2 of them on the field. Definitely saw that.
Not sure if they saw some kind of
Bryce
illegal
Thibodeau on the
block
carry,
before
managed to
that,
bounce
if
it out
there's
to
2
the
down,
left.
but he definitely hit him out of bounds.
Good for
Let's see what they have to say
13
about
yards,
this.
but there's a flag on the play.
Come on, Mr. Referee, get to the open. We got holding on Vandebilt.
It was a holding penalty well past the first down marker, and that'll bring it back 10 yards from the spot of the foul.
Yep.
Did not call a late hit out of bounds.
They did not. I thought we were
bring
going to
up
have
first
offsetting
and about
penalties
7.
on that one, but it didn't look like the referees agreed with us on that one.
So in high school football, holding is from the spot of the foul. So it's 1st down and about 7. So at least you got some positive yards. But, you know, I actually didn't look at the replay on the screen, but, man, that sure looked like he was going out of bounds. All right. And he calls for the ball, man in motion. Looks like he's got another little wide receiver screen out. And that's going to be close to a first down. Looks like he might be a yard short.
Screen pass to Reese Gode.
That was
Good
Reese
for about
Gode,
7. It'll
number
bring up 2nd and
4.
2. 2nd and 1.
Good little swing pass, but, we got some positive yards out of it, about 6 yards.
Caden
So
Parkett makes the
2nd and
tackle
1.
for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, I'd love to see what Reese just did there. See, he was going out wide. He saw the speed of Lutcher getting outside of him. So he put his foot in the ground and cut it back inside and able to get a few positive yards out of it.
Empty backfield. They're going to do that swing pass out to the left this time to Thibodeau. And it looks like Thibodeau's got a first down, but there's a flag on the play.
Thibodeau,
I think they're going to get Vandebilt for a block in the back.
Dodgers one and then gets enough for a first down, but there's a flag on the play. And it's a holding call against Terriers out in the flat.
Well, it's a costly mistake because he had the first down. The last penalty didn't cost quite as much. This one from the spot. This one's going to move it, but yeah, it's a spot foul
also to bring up
first down. So we're playing 2nd and 10. Well, that middle of the field's been getting a lot of action for both teams. Just as we talked about a clean game with no penalties or very few penalties, we've had quite a few in a row here.
Yeah, we've seen some laundry on the field.
Pistol formation here. Handoff deep. Thibodeau, he takes it around the right side, and he
nice Thibodeau, bounces out to the right side, dodges a couple.
About 6.
Good for about 5
so
yards.
A 3rd and 4.
Parkett on the tackle.
There's another play
That'll
where
bring a 3rd and 5 for the Terriers.
Put his foot in the ground and get upfield and get it what you can. We've been talking all night about the speed of this Lutcher defense. And
look, that was an outside play, and that number 72, the nose tackle, made that tackle on the outside. We talked about him a little bit earlier. Caden Parkett, he's all over the field. He's made several tackles. He's undersized. He's a speed guy, but you can tell he's a tough guy. Because that defense has been on the field a long time, and he's out there. Another swing pass, and that one looks like it's going to go for a first down.
Henri LePere catches the ball on the flats and goes outside. That's enough for a Smoothie King. First down.
Vandebilt looked like they're starting to test this.
Nope, that was LePere again.
Looks like they're trying to test these Lutcher cornerbacks and safeties. Are you going to come up and make a hard tackle?
Derek Jackson on the tackle.
You keep doing these swing passes all night, making these guys run.
Yep.
They're going to get tired eventually.
Yep, absolutely. I believe that. And that's the chess game of football. It's, you bait them, and you hit your big play. It's when do you do it? And it looks like he was going to get it right here. He's wide open in the end zone, and a no. That looks like pass interference on the defense. He had it.
Pass intended for Bourgeois. Falls incomplete, but there's a flag on the play.
That was Corey Bourgeois, who the last long deep pass went to. I'm assuming that's interference.
Yeah, the cornerback definitely had a hold of his trailing hand there, unable to complete the catch.
But you called it earlier. I mean, they went deep. It was a little slow developing in the offensive backfield.
That's a pass interference call against the Bulldogs.
So that looks like a 15-yard
touchdown, but
penalty
that'll bring in 15 more yards.
That's going to give them a first down somewhere.
And a Smoothie King first down.
Probably about the 25-yard line.
Yeah, that's what we call it. See, the setup play. You test them wide. You test them up the middle a little bit. Body shot, and then you go for the deep ball.
2 minutes left in the half. Might be a good time to mention our sponsors, Terrebonne General, Community Sports Institute, Barker Honda, Barker Kia. Thank you for bringing us this opportunity. That's a fumble, and it looks like Vandebilt.
He's able to get back on.
Looks like Kenny got back on it. That was a little
Terriers following it for a loss of about
between
5.
Kenny and Thibodeau right there.
Or 6. That'll bring up second.
Yeah, I think he tried to pull the ball back out, and Thibodeau had grabbed it like it was his.
Yeah.
That's the part of read option that's tough, is when do you take it?
Yeah, being down here field level, I saw that one. It looked like they had a defensive lineman that looked like he was going to stay with the quarterback and flash very, very late for the running back. So Vandebilt tried to keep it with the quarterback, and unfortunately just one of those things where you got two guys grabbing at the ball and ends up on the turf.
Oh. That appears to be a false start.
Call a false start on the Terriers.
That puts them a little bit further back. We're playing a second.
Second and 20.
Yeah, 20 yards to go. You know, they've gotten down there a few times and come up empty. You know, you can't come up empty. A minute 24 left. You want to put these points on the board. You get the ball back with the first possession of the second half. That could be a big swing if you can score here. And that's Henney keeping the ball up the middle. Nice move by Henney.
Oh.
And he's taking it to the outside. Oh, flag.
Henney goes all the way into the end zone, but they got more laundry on the field.
Oh, touchdown, but you know that's going to come back. But where they threw the flag, we should still have decent field position. Probably a play in about a 2nd and 10 or so. Or 2nd and 15, but...
You know, Steve, I'll go back one play while we got a couple of seconds here.
It's a holding call against the Terriers downfield.
When we had a fumble between the guys. We talked about it earlier.
From the spot of the foul.
You know, we see these high school kids doing a lot more of what we see in the college game, where they're not under center, they're not using their verbal cadence, they're using that hand clap. So I think that's kind of what led to the false start. There's a lot of noise out here, so when you are depending on the clap of the quarterback to be your movement cue, you know, offensive line might hear something and just jump off sides, and that's the risk you run when you're not using that verbal cadence instead of you're using the hand clap.
Yep. Well, Holden took a touchdown off the board with a minute left. Henney really with a beautiful move, slicing through that defense. Once he got past that defensive line, he moves quick for a bigger guy. Throws the ball deep this time, and he took a hit.
Henney hit as he throws the ball, and it falls incomplete.
You know, he was fortunate because that ball hung up there a little bit with two defensive backs. So that's going to be a tough one. 3rd and long. You got the ball on the 28-yard line. You know, you can kick a 45-yard field goal from here, 46-yard field goal. He definitely had the distance, and it's something you would probably try with just, 40-something seconds left to try and get the points on the board. You know, if you don't make it, you let your defense hold with just a few seconds left in the half.
Yeah, we saw the Vandebilt kicker earlier. Have the distance, just not quite the accuracy. So we'll see how Vandebilt plays it here on 3rd down.
All right, Henney back to pass. He throws a little screen. Oh, and it got tipped.
Henney's pass tipped at the line of scrimmage, falls
stalled,
incomplete.
Unfortunately. Penalties. That drive stalled on penalties. It's a shame. Vandebilt really had some momentum and overcame some big penalties.
4th and 14 for the Terriers.
4th and 14, but they are keeping their offense on the field with 42 seconds left. This is a big play.
You know, you wonder if the Vandebilt coaching staff says, hey, look, that's exactly what I thought they would do. Call a timeout. That's what I was about to say. Maybe let's talk this one over a little bit with only 40 seconds left or so in the half and make a good decision for our team. Can we get 3 points on the board late, maybe sneak one out on them? And who knows, the way both defenses are playing tonight, Steve, that might be the difference in the game.
Kate Malcolm.
Yeah, the way it's playing out right now, anything can happen.
Savannah Hebert.
I said earlier in the dogfight, you got the Terriers and the Bulldogs.
And here's our juniors, Madison Smith, Allie LeBlanc, and Annabelle Orso.
Yeah, I'm down here, field side, and
seniors,
you can see the coaches coaching up Vanderbilt and saying, guys, look, we've done
Co-captain
well. We
Reese
shot
Landry.
ourselves in the foot, unfortunately, when we get down
Demi
close to the
LeBlanc.
red zone where we think we can score.
Elena LeBlanc.
Unfortunately, it seems to be, like we said earlier in the game, it was very clean, and then all of a sudden in the second quarter, we have a rash of penalties. So I think that's what we're going to see. Vanderbilt's coaches staff telling their players, guys, look, we're doing what we need to do. We just got to stop getting these penalties on ourselves and shooting ourselves in the foot.
And look, it's been a hard-fought, close game. You get a little bit tight, you get a little bit tired, and you start making some mistakes. So you know that's going to be talked about when they go into that locker room at halftime.
Absolutely.
All right, well, they do send the quarterback out on a 4th and 15 play. 42 seconds left. Just got an update. Terrebonne Destrehan tied at 21. That's a dogfight over there, but the offenses seem to be having their way.
Yeah, that'll end up being a game who has the ball last, it sounds like.
Right. And he back to pass. Looks like he's going deep. Ball hangs up in the air. That's going to be a touchdown on an underthrown ball.
Touchdown, Terriers!
It looks like he kind of just got confused. The wide receiver
That's Corey Bourgeois on the reception.
Stood his ground, caught the ball. Touchdown, Vandebilt. 34 seconds left in the half. Outstanding play.
See, I'm field level looking dead at the play as it happened. I can tell you exactly what happened on that one. Vanderbilt's receiver put his hands up.
In to attempt an extra point for the
quarterback
Terriers.
trying to defend, not reading the ball, but reading the player. Jumps and actually allows the Vanderbilt wide receiver to undercut him and come back to that underthrown pass.
And the extra point is good.
That makes it 7-0.
That brings the score. Terriers 7, Lutcher 0.
Brett, that's what makes this HTV coverage a little different than anything I've done before. To have you on the field is a whole different perspective than what I get in the booth. So it's good to have you be able to be right there where the action is.
Yeah, it's a totally different game down here. See, when you get to see these guys up close, you kind of can actually hear some of them sometimes, but you can see it down here, so it's good for. I agree with you. I think it's great for our viewers who tune in, and we can give them a different perspective than what they're used to looking at just from a regular television broadcast.
And look, that was a great play by the wide receiver. He could have easily lost concentration on that, but he didn't. Just ball fell. I haven't seen Kenny underthrow any balls. Kenny's been strong on his throws. He caught a little bit of pressure, knowing they were going to throw it long, and he threw it up. It wasn't up for grabs. It was still a good play, but it was just a little underthrown. And fortunately for the wide receiver, it was just perfect.
Yeah, I wonder, looking at the development of that play,
because
it was right along the sideline, right by the pylon. Was he maybe trying to throw that back shoulder pass that is becoming so popular now? And maybe just a tad bit underthrown, but hey, you leave it up in the air long enough, you let your playmakers and your talented wide receivers go up and adjust to the ball.
Yeah, on the replay, the defensive back just got totally turned around at the end, and that's what needed to happen. Very smartly, they kicked the ball into the ground, and it is number one that fielded it. He was up there ready for it. And Lutcher with 28 seconds has the ball on the 45-yard line.
Asher Sark reels in the short kick.
So hopefully Vandebilt's got a little prevent in their pocket because they've gotten beat a couple times. Lutcher hasn't been able to connect. So you might want to play a 2 deep safety, 1 deep safety, just get somebody back there.
Yeah, 28 seconds left. You just want to keep the ball in front of you. Get to the half up by 7 and adjust from there. Make your halftime adjustments, but just keep everything in front of you at this point.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised. The defensive backs are 10 yards from the line of scrimmage with their, where they normally play. They're just going to have to be on the lookout. Don't lose your eye discipline on that. Nice throw to the outside. That's obviously their playmaker. Ashton
Stark on the reception.
He's
good
the guy
for
who took
about
it to
5,
the
and
house
immediately the
punt
Bulldogs
return.
call a timeout.
He's caught a couple balls, and he's just looking to break loose.
Thomas Acomp on the tackle for the Terriers.
I think we got Lutcher here with a timeout on the field, trying to see if maybe, from the Lutcher point of view, can we at least maybe get in the field goal range? You only got 19 seconds left. I did not see the Lutcher field goal kicker before the game, so I'm not sure what his range is quite yet. But I guess, we may see here in a second, but for Vanderbilt's sake, hopefully not. But we will see. Lutcher definitely seems to not just be kneeling on the ball going in the half. They're looking to maybe steal some points here before half.
Yeah, Brett, I'm looking at the Vanderbilt sidelines and just the evolution of coaching. They've got a big screen TV. The offense is huddled around Chandler Arsenault, the offensive line coach. They're watching video of their last few possessions, their last few plays. It's just so much different than it used to be. The technology has really changed the game. The adjustments you're able to make now just because you get to watch it right away.
Yeah, both on and off the field. The things on the sideline you described, sports medicine things, just keeping you guys healthy.
All right, Charles takes a snap. He rolls to his left and throws it out incomplete.
Charles pass incomplete on the
sideline. Right-handed quarterback rolling to your left.
That was also
that's a tough throw.
That'll bring up
Try to get it out to Ashton Stark.
Down.
Just threw it a little bit too low.
14 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah, see, we were mentioning a minute ago, we are surprised that Vanderbilt wasn't playing their safeties back, but I can tell you on that play, if our viewers go back and watch the replay, it appears that they're rotating their safety. So at the snap of the ball, you're seeing all cornerbacks and safeties kind of in their back pedal trying to get depth on these wide receivers, keep them in front of them.
Well, they just dropped one really deep. Oh, they just dropped two really deep with 14 seconds left. They don't want to get beat deep, and there we go. Good pursuit by Vandebilt. Charles has to run the ball. Oh, no. Please,
yeah, that's going to be a late hit out of bounds.
Charles managed to get a first down and going to tack on some extra yards with a penalty.
You know, that's just being a little bit too excited. You know, you don't want to give up the big play. And our defense just got a little too excited, and that's going to be very costly. Now, it's only 6 seconds. They have to make a decision if they want to kick or they're just going to throw it to the end zone and either hope for a touchdown or a pass interference. But, you know, this gets the ball down to the 28-yard line.
Yeah, that's the kind of play that's just a killer breaks you back on defense. Just
so the
got them
Bulldogs with 6
up,
seconds left, have the ball on the 29-yard line.
Running down towards the end of the clock, and now you give them new life. Like you said, we'll see what Lutcher decides to go. It looks like they're keeping their offense out on the field. So,
well, you know they're going to throw it to the end zone. You got one receiver to the left. You got two to the right. Looks like Vandebilt's going to call a timeout. You know, here's your strategy.
Vandebilt takes his final
Lutcher's
timeout.
got pretty tall, athletic receivers. You know, that's your two options. You're going to throw it either to the lone receiver who's going to be in single coverage on the left side of their formation, or throw it with your two receivers and hope to get a tip or a pass interference. You know, this is the chess game. Which way do you want to go with it?
Yeah, if you're Vandebilt here, you know, you see it all the time, whether it be in college game or the pro game. You know, in this kind of play, you know, if they're keeping their offense out there, this is going to be probably the last offensive snap of the game of the half. So as Vandebilt do, you put a couple of defenders maybe at the goal line, you keep a couple guys midfield maybe at the 10-yard line, and just keep everything in front of you. And as I'm saying that, it appears that's exactly what Vandebilt's doing. Number 21, the safety's heading back there, just inside the 5-yard line, as I guess they would.
All right. Moment of truth, 6 seconds left. Let's see what they draw up. They got three receivers to the right. It looks like he's going to go to the single coverage on the left. Beautiful throw and good defense. Vandebilt
pass incomplete to number 13, and that looks like that'll end the half.
Double coverage on the receiver, just what they needed to do. Vanderbilt's able to take a 7-0 lead into the half.
Bulldogs 0.
Outstanding first half for both teams.
Yeah, exactly what you got to do at Vanderbilt position there. You roll that corner, you roll that safety. Just let it. If it stays inside, it'll be incomplete. And if you do complete it, you're going to be down inside, and that's the end of the half. So good play by the defensive there for the Terriers to end the half.
Yeah, you know, so Vanderbilt's coaches are going to get them in there. Tell the defense they played outstanding. Tell the defense, the offense, you played outstanding outside of the penalties. You know, Vanderbilt really could be up probably 17-0. You know, if your defense can just maintain this and your offense can clean it up a little bit, I think Vanderbilt really has a shot to get to the end of this and it not be close.
Yeah, look, Vanderbilt's defense have proven themselves. They've been willing to stay up and contest these guys. And like you said, stop the penalty, stop shooting yourself in the foot, and can you just be aggressive on offense and just let's put this thing away hopefully early in the first half. But good football games before. Both teams are playing hard, and that's all you can ask for on a beautiful Friday night.
Yeah, and the weather's held up. You know, I was a little bit worried earlier. It was raining hard earlier. And it's like, man, I hope that doesn't linger into the evening. And it's been a beautiful night. It's still a little windy. The wind has actually shifted now. You know, that might make a difference in the second half because it's, you know, from the press box, it's blowing right to left. So it's going to be in somebody's face. It was a crosswind earlier when our kicker missed that field goal. It actually, I don't know if the wind did it, but he missed it to the right, and the flag was blowing that way. So, you know, you get to that.
Ladies and gentlemen, Terrier fans, if you would direct your attention to midfield.
Yeah, that definitely came into play early on. And Steve, I'm down here on the field. We see Elijah McGuire.
Yeah, let's go ahead and let this.
Tonight we honor one of Vandebilt Catholic's greatest athletes by retiring jersey number 15, Elijah McGuire, class of 2013. As a Terrier, Elijah was named first team All-State, led the state in rushing with over 2,600 yards and 31 touchdowns. and guided Vandebilt to a district championship and a playoff run. At the University of Louisiana, he became the Ragin' Cajuns' all-time leader in touchdowns and points, the second leading rusher in school history, and a 4-time All-Sun Belt Conference selection. In 2024, he was inducted into the UL Athletics Hall of Fame. Elijah went on to play in the NFL with the Jets, Browns, Dolphins, Cowboys, and Chiefs, where he won a Super Bowl in 2020. Please join us in celebrating the retirement of jersey number 15 and honoring our Elijah McGuire's incredible legacy here at Vandebilt Catholic. At this time, if you would please direct your attention to our scoreboard as we reveal our newest section, which will showcase our Terrier greats. Terrier fans, how about one more big Terrier thank you to our number 15 and Vandebilt Catholic legend, Elijah McGuire.
All right, Brett, I know you asked Elijah for an interview. I know he's got a lot going on at the second, see when you can catch him, but it's a really nice, you know, this is the first, and I know of the first retirement of a jersey for Vandebilt football, and it absolutely very well deserved. Elijah made a difference here as a football player.
All right, folks, for the next part of our halftime
He's
entertainment,
one of those talents that you just can't deny.
our smoothie king, smooth operator, kicker of the game. How about a big Terrier? Welcome to Braden Duplantis, one of our freshman students.
The Vandebilt staff is at Elijah. We did talk to them to try to get an interview.
If you bring your ticket stub to any Smoothie King in town tomorrow, it's $2
I will
off
tell you, we stuffed in the weather a little earlier. We are starting to get a few drops
All right,
of
we
rain
got our
here.
cheerleaders with
We'll
our
see
pink
if the rain is able to hold on.
and Braden.
You know, Brett, when you do get to
When
talk
you're
to
ready.
Elijah, something you might want to mention, and I know you know this, but Elijah had the opportunity to go play basketball at the next level. He could have played in a lot of places. He was extremely talented in basketball. He probably wasn't the best outside shooter. He was a
All right,
true
Braden,
point
here's
guard.
another ball from Coach
He was
Menard.
a scorer, and he had incredible field
Are we going to give Braden
vision.
one more chance?
He was just fun to watch, and he had some good talent around him, and he brought them very deep in the playoffs.
Can we get a chant of Braden?
Yeah, he's one of those kids that you just see, and you love to root for him. He just does everything right. You know, we've heard stories about how hard he practiced since he was a starter in 8th grade, and you just root for a kid like that, just raw talent, and he ends up turning it into something great. And just to get inspiration for younger kids today that are in the stands right now, maybe have their jersey retired one day.
In Houma.
Did they retire your jersey at
Smooth
Alabama?
operator,
They did.
the game.
Unfortunately,
Great
they don't
job,
hang
Braden.
it under the scoreboard. I believe it's kept in
And
a trash
lastly,
can
folks,
somewhere.
If you would direct your
buried
attention
under
to
the
that
gym
same
somewhere.
end
Yeah,
zone,
it's kept in the field
our
house.
Alumni
locker room,
Association
trash
had
can,
our
I believe.
social tonight, recognizing our alumni football and cheerleaders. So we get everybody to wave over
Vandebilt
there. Let's give
Athletics
them a
is
big
really,
round of applause.
Really taking a lot of steps forward.
Thank you, Terrier fans, and
Yeah,
go
just
Terriers.
nights like tonight, you get to see, the hard work of, Elijah obviously is the talent, and he does all the hard work. But he couldn't have done it, and I'm sure he would be the first one to tell you he couldn't do it without his teammates. He couldn't do it without his coaches, the training staff. So it's a whole program. It's these kids they're on the field. You see them, and they're the ones who get the credit. Obviously, rightfully so. They're the hard worker, but it's a lot of people behind the scenes that maybe doesn't necessarily get the credit that they deserve sometimes. But Elijah's definitely, obviously, the one spearheading it, but I'm sure he'd be the first to tell you it's a group effort.
It is. And, like I said earlier, my son, my oldest son played football with Elijah. My youngest son played basketball, and he was just a quality person. A lot of times you'll get these athletes who are superstars, and they're very to themselves and not very friendly. Man, Elijah would shake hands with parents. He was very nice to my boys. I mean, he was just a good person.
Yeah, and he's down here on the field, Steve, giving some interviews. We're standing by. I hope we're going to try to grab him here in just 1 second.
Talk about your career path in general, and man, it's been a roller coaster, man. Coming up. I was supposed to make it, but I prevailed. Like I said, Vandebilt was a big part of that. My college coach was Marcus Lovins. He was a big part of it. The fellow running backs that was there when I already got there, they was a big part of it. And just, going on to the NFL, man, the rest is history.
Yeah, obviously. What's the biggest moment you've had as a Vanderbilt Terrier that you remember?
I think the biggest moment was, I had an interview a couple of days ago. I think it was the Edie White game. Edie White is our rivalry. I think it was the year TJ Cantrell had passed away. He made a big back shoulder throw to Jeffrey Ross. Last minute, clock winding down, and won us the game, man. That's probably the biggest moment. Besides that, getting almost 500 yards of relevant.
and like you say, man, I mean, a lot of great athletes come from Vanderbilt. A lot of great athletes come from Homer. How does it feel to be considered one of the greatest to ever come from?
Yeah, man. I don't really know the history of the athletes that came through Vanderbilt. But somebody had mentioned me, I got Facebook. I don't post much, but I pay attention to a lot. It was one other guy that got, his jersey retired. I don't know him. I think he was class of 79 or so. I wasn't even born. But I wish I knew the history, man. I don't know the history. I know a few guys, but to be in the category with the other guy that got, his jersey retired, it means a lot, man. It means a lot. So for me to get, the ceremony, I don't know the guy. I don't know if he's still living or not. But if he is, they should do the same for him. So I'm honored, man. I'm honored.
Elijah, what's it mean to you being back here at Vanderbilt, seeing the young kids? You just got a chance to walk around the stadium. What's it feel like maybe being inspiration to some of these young kids that are playing right now and maybe going to play in a few years?
It means a lot, man. Being from Homer, Louisiana, coming off the east side of Homer, there's not a lot of guys that make it, man. So the few ones that do, we got a meet in the league right now. Phil Livens had made it. Just to come back and the guys with the little children that know who we are, there's always motivation in them. There's always, never let nobody tell you what you can't do. So for the little kids to see us, walk around Homer, make appearances, places, there's always motivation, man. It's just to let them know they can do it too.
All right, what do you want everyone to remember about Elijah McGuire?
Man, my circle's small, man. It's not too many people that know me, as far as my personal life. But the ones that don't, man, just don't give up. I never gave up. I prevailed. I went through a lot to get here. Just keep going, man. Don't let nobody tell you what you can't do, ever. So whatever you got your mind set up to do, go ahead and do it.
Thanks a lot. Congratulations, man.
We'd like to look in.
Hey, man, it's been a while since I did one of these.
I know. Hey, I didn't know it was going to rain.
That's the name? Okay. Thank you, man.
Alright, guys, 1, 2, 3. Alright, darling.
All right, Brett, unfortunately, I wasn't able to hear much of that interview, so, but there sure looks like quite a crowd around it.
Yeah, Steve, with the weather kind of starting to change here, they kind of asked us as a group instead of individual interviews, but maybe try to just do it as a quick group interview with the rain starting to come down. So, Elijah, for those of you who weren't able to hear it here in the stadium and for those of you who are going to see it on the replay here on our broadcast, he expressed a lot of admiration for his teammates. He expressed a lot of admiration for his coaches and just all the people that, exactly what we said before, that we thought he would say, giving credit to those around him that he couldn't have did it without him. And the one question, Steve, I was able to ask him is, what did it mean to him to be back here at Vandebilt Catholic and seeing, as he walked around the stadium, getting to see all these little kids maybe looking up to him and thinking, you know what, if Elijah can do it, can I do it? And his exact response was that it's an inspiration to him to see these kids looking up to him, and he said he wants to do everything positive and inspire the next generation behind him.
Right, and it is tough to make it, man. I mean, it's especially at the running back position, the attrition rate at running back. He played his first 3 years with the Jets and then bounced around. The league is a tough place to be.
Yeah, and he kind of alluded to that as well. Just the things he overcame in his childhood, coming from the east side of home, as he said, he didn't have as much things as some kids would want, but had what he needed, as he said, and just took what he was given, the God-given talent and ability, and able to make a good living out of it at the high school level and going into college and even into the pros for a little while. And he was very complimentary of the team around him, his family, and his friends, his coaches, and it's just, Steve, as a guy that's almost 40 years old, looking up at these kids, it's good to see that as much success as he had, he stayed a humble kid and just giving credit to those around him.
Yeah, and I guess as I spoke about the weather earlier, I probably should have checked the radar before I spoke, because now it's I could tell there was a stir among the crowd. I'm thinking, what's going on? And then I see raincoats and umbrellas. I'm like, man, that's not good. But hopefully it's just going to be quick and passing, and it's not going to affect the pace of play. It's been a great football game we've been able to watch.
Yeah, I don't know what you're seeing from the press box, Steve, but I can tell you on the sideline, out here in the stands and on the sideline, it's definitely starting to pick up pretty good.
Yeah, as I see you walking up the stairs towards the press box.
Well, sometimes you do what you got to do. There's different angles. We'll say we'll get a different angle of the game, but we'll see if maybe hopefully just lasts a little while and clears out, and maybe we can get back to some good football.
Yeah, if the rain ends, I am gonna kick you out and get you back downstairs.
Yeah, as we're coming in to the press box here, I can tell you there's still a lot of fans here in the stands that are definitely taking some cover and still want to stick around and hopefully watch a good second half of football.
Yeah, I'm watching the fans, and unfortunately there were a lot of people who came to see, the softball team get recognized, Elijah's halftime, and weather's a tough thing. So I'm watching our kickers, right now, just looking. This guy's got a 46-yarder. That would have been where he would have had to kick from earlier. So I'm interested to see when we pass on that field goal for the touchdown, to see if he has that kind of range. This is his exact spot. It was on that side of the field. So I've been on field level, and it's amazing the sound it makes when those guys kick the ball. I mean,
yeah,
they really boot it.
Yeah, and you mentioned earlier in the game.
Oh, look at his leg. He's got a strong enough leg.
Oh,
it went in.
Yeah.
Right on the crossbar, bounced over. So that's about his range. But it's good to know. You might need that at the end of a game like this.
Yeah, you mentioned it earlier that at high school they actually get to put the ball on a tee, which in inclement weather like we seem to be having right now, that can make all the difference in the world, where you're not into the mud and maybe slip down when the holder's putting it down. It gives you a little bit more stability and hopefully a little bit more accuracy.
I was looking at Elijah. He was always considered to be a little undersized, but he's pretty well put together. Looks like he could still play if he wanted to.
Yeah, Steve, I can tell you, being about 6 inches from him, I definitely wouldn't want to tackle him.
And the good news is, Brett, you probably couldn't tackle him.
Yeah, even in my heyday, I doubt I could have. But at 39, going on about 70, I definitely don't think I could do it today without spending about a month in the traction.
Well, our kicker, number 41, Ethan Prejean, just nailed that one. Had a good clearance from 46. You just got to put that in your back pocket and say, man, you hope he doesn't have to, but he can.
Yep, that's definitely one that you got to imagine this kid's spending all week just practicing these long field goals, because that's not typically something at this level, in the high school level, that you got to kick these very long field goals. But as you said a little earlier, just knowing that your kicker can, if they need to, that could be all the difference in the world in a game like this, where it's a one-score game going into the second half. It's been a defensive struggle so far. Field's now going to be a little slick, a little wet. So you got to believe the coaches are telling their players, guys, keep your feet under you. You know, don't get too excited. Stay in yourself, as the coaches used to say, and just take advantage of every opportunity that presents in front of you.
You know, Brett, I keep stats, I guess, as good as I can as someone up here doing the announcing with no stat guy. But I have Henne at 10 of 13 with 1 touchdown. He's thrown the ball well. And, you know, Lutcher, like I said, outside of the penalties, I mean, I feel really good about our offense being able to move the ball. We've run the ball well. We've thrown the ball well. We've shown we can run inside. They've gotten to the outside in the second half a little bit, which is what they needed to prove to themselves. So, you know, the coaches can just clean that up just a little bit, and our defense can stay on the same track. You know, I'm hopeful we can have a good second half of football.
You know, I'm going to go back to the end of the first half, and a play, honestly, that got called back via penalty that I'm going to highlight for our viewers. If you go back and watch, it was a play where our quarterback, Ethan Henne, actually escaped around the left side, thought we had scored a touchdown, but got called back via penalty. I'm thinking of that kind of play where in the second half, when you're coming back on a field that's wet, maybe a little soggy from the rain, where you might need to run the ball more than you did there in that first half, where you're not only depending upon your running back, you can use your quarterback in that running game, really make it a true 11-on-11 game where it's not just 10-on-11. So that might be something we see Vandebilt do in the second half.
Yeah, Henne on that touchdown run that got called back, he showed me some moves I didn't know he had at his size. You know, Henne, as we talked earlier a little bit about guys getting some looks, Henne's starting to get some looks from some smaller schools, FCF schools. Part of it is over his size and his arm strength. I mean, you know, he's obviously every quarterback when they get to that next level, you know, they've got a lot to improve on. But as for a high school quarterback, he's done a really good job. He's proven to be very accurate, very nimble, and you know, who knows? All it takes is a few good games like this to get you a look, get you a scholarship, and then once you get to that next level, you know, the coaching at that level, he can really improve and maybe make a difference.
Yeah, especially with a kid that's his size. You know, we're sitting up here in the press box looking down on the field, and you can just tell that compared to his teammates, you know, he's got that size where at the next level, you know, I'm going to think a guy our viewers will, obviously most of our viewers will know, a guy like Taysom Hill, when you look at the professional ranks where, yeah, you're a quarterback, but can you do other things? You know, you might not be my starter, but can you do anything else to get on the field? And Henne might be one of those types of guys where, you know, he could be the quarterback that you might need him to be, but if he goes to a school, especially early on, where a lot of college coaches like to start experienced guys, but his raw talent and his athleticism and his moves get him on the field early and get him some experience.
Yeah, I mean, he's a good athlete. Obviously, he could move to a slot wide receiver, maybe even bulk up and be a tight end at his size. But he's got the skill set to be a quarterback. So if the right school picks him, hey, you just never know.
Yeah, he's one of those kids that he looks like whatever the coaches tells him. I haven't spoken to the kid, but just watching his coaches talk to him and watching his teammates react to him, you can just tell he's the kind of kid that'll say, look, whatever you need me to do, I'm going to do it. Whatever I need to put on a few pounds and bulk up and be a tight end, maybe lose a few and be a running back, whatever it takes to make the team better and get on the field, I'm sure that's what he'd be willing to do.
Yeah, I watched him last year when Vandebilt played Edie White. He was the backup quarterback to Chestnut last year, and he came in and look, Edie White is always that tough game. That's the rivalry game for Vandebilt. And although Vandebilt lost a really, really close one, it wasn't because of quarterback play. He stepped up as a second string junior and really played a good football game. Just a couple throws away. Vandebilt looked good in that game. Obviously, they met again in the state semifinals to go to the Dome, and Edie White got the best of them in another really close game. You know, a couple bad breaks for Vandebilt last year. You know, once you get to the playoffs, all bets are off. I mean, Vanderbilt's looking really good against a good football team in Lutcher. They've got a couple of games later on in the schedule. You know, like I said, they're in the meat of their district. Edie White's always going to be that tough game they play, but South Lafourche, Edie White is leading them 23-7 right now. I thought I saw the update. They still have to play Ellender, South Terrebonne, South Lafourche, and Edie White. So, district, they're actually looking pretty good if they continue to play this type of football. Assumption, I left out Assumption.
Yeah, and just, as an athlete, both of us played sports growing up our lives, all of our lives, and as an athlete, you just want to play against good competition. Win, lose, or draw, you just want to play against the best just to measure up and see where you are and hopefully try to continue to improve. But like you mentioned, those games against Edie White last year, both of them were close. Both of them were entertaining as could be. And just, like I said, that's just two hard-nosed football teams playing against each other. And unfortunately, Vandebilt in the playoffs came up a little bit short. But you always want to play against the best of the best for sure.
Yeah, and in district, so far, Vandebilt has played Morgan City and won 50-20. In district, Lutcher has played Assumption and won 51-8. So Assumption may be having a down year. Historically, Assumption's been a pretty good football team. So you look forward to that Vandebilt-Edie White matchup a little bit further down the road.
Yep. As we get ready to start the second half here, I'll definitely attest to our viewers earlier. It is definitely warmer in the press box than it is on the field. I'm going to tell you that. The weather has seemed to subside here, so I'm actually going to make my way back down field level to give us a little bit better advantage on the telecast.
All right, buddy. Well, we'll talk as soon as you get down there. I don't want you to slip going down the stairs by trying to run your mouth and move your feet. How's that?
Yeah, I'm not multi-talented, that's for sure. So.
Well, like we said when we were going into the half, Vandebilt, if they could only score, they're going to get the ball to start the second half. And so this is your opportunity. If you can score right here and go up 2 scores against a really tough Lutcher team, that would be a big deal.
Yeah, typically when you've got these defensive battles going on and then you add in weather into the mix, I think it's only become more of a defensive battle. So can Vandebilt keep up that stingy defense, especially on the defensive line that we were able to see early on in the game?
All right, that was a short pooch kick by Lutcher, and Vandebilt will play it 1st and 10 from their own 33 to start the second half. And it's just so different than before. I mean, Vandebilt's now pretty much a shotgun team, which is great to see that style of football here. So Henny's going to call for the ball, man in motion, and got a false start against the Terriers. Well, if they talked to him about cleaning up things at halftime, it didn't really work just yet.
Some of these guys must have been in the bathroom while that speech was going on.
I think that was a legal false start on Easton Klingman. I mean, he went in motion, so I'm not quite sure what happened. But we're playing a 1st and 15. Looks like they're running the same play. He's in the slot, and he's got the ball. Hands it off to Thibodeau around the left side. Cuts it up towards the middle. Able to pick up about 4. It's going to be 2nd and 11.
Yeah, that's the Terriers coming out starting exactly like we thought they would, just coming out running the ball straight up the middle. Let's see what these Lutcher Bulldogs can stand on defense and see if they can make up here Vandebilt for that false start on 1st down.
All right, we got 3 wide receivers to the right, 1 to the left, 1 back in the backfield. Snap, hands it off up the middle. Thibodeau's going to cut it to the outside, and it looks like he's out of bounds right about the 1st down mark. Yep, 1st down. They gave it to him. So that was a nice pickup of 12 yards.
That's just great field vision, just seeing your blockers, setting up your blockers, and following the blockers.
Yeah, look, the wide receivers did a great job of holding their guys in position until he got all the way down the field. That was really good work by number 11, Corey Bourgeois.
Yeah, that was textbook blocking by a wide receiver. You can't ask your wide receivers to do better than what he just did.
You get a lot of holding on wide receivers in that open field because it's just not what they do. So that was an outstanding play. Thibodeau in motion. And he's looking down the field in one pump, and he goes deep to Bourgeois, and that ball is gone. Oh, he dropped it.
Bourgeois.
I wouldn't say he dropped it. Maybe the ground caused that. That was a nice grab. He got behind the defense, had to reach a little bit for it, got it in his hands, and he wasn't able to hold it through the ground. So,
yeah, Steve,
nice throwing, almost catch.
I was about 5 yards away from him down here on the sideline when that play happened, and he hit a beautiful double move. Our viewers can go back and watch the replay. Just like you said, you called it exactly. Had a little bit loose control going to the ground, but when he hit the ground, just unfortunately jarred it loose.
It was a nice pump fake, a nice throw by Henny as he takes the ball up the middle. He's going to pick up the first down plus a few more yards. You know, that's the second time he's run that quarterback draw, and you can see he's got some shifty moves in there. Nice pickup of 12 yards.
Yeah, that was one where he was very decisive. You know, he hit that back foot and just bam, hit the hole and get upfield. Great decision.
The one thing he's going to have to learn is maybe to slide. He took that thing right at safety, and the safety ducked. It's a lot smaller safety than Henny, obviously, but you know, a slide's not too bad to save yourself for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I was definitely thinking the same thing, that he may want to just go down a little bit, save that body a little bit.
Yeah, he had that first down. Another swing pass to the outside. Thibodeau dropped the ball, and it was a forward pass. Okay, so it's 2nd and 10.
Pass incomplete.
Yeah, that one was just out of the outstretched hands of the running back on that one.
Yeah, and, you know, that one I'm not sure would have gone very far. Wide receiver lost contain of his block and might have lost a few on that, so that might be very fortunate that he didn't hold on to it.
Definitely a lot of looks to the sidelines on both sides of the ball on this, looking at the coaches.
Wide receiver in motion. Oh, gets rid of it just in time, and it throws an interception. That was a great play by number 4, Derek Jackson. He came from the middle of the field out towards the right side, and Henny, under pressure, threw that up a little bit, hung a little bit too long. Wide receiver didn't stop and go back and get it, but that was a great defensive play.
Yeah, that was one where you could see the linebacker there. He wasn't even looking at the wide receivers or the running backs. He was just reading the quarterback's eyes the whole time. Just stared dead at the quarterback and just read his eyes and followed. You know, you follow the quarterback's eyes, you'll know where the ball's going, and he just did a great job over it on
and
that.
he may have thrown that a little earlier than he wanted because the footsteps behind him, it was an outside blitz, and he was charging. So let's see. It's time for the Terrier defense to stand up as Lutcher has the ball first down on the 40-yard line, 9:26 in the third quarter. As Charles calls for the football, he's going to take it up the middle for a sneak. Vandebilt's defense swarming defense. Their entire defensive line was on that tackle.
See, we mentioned it at halftime, or coming into the second half, is it going to be even more of a defensive struggle? We've already seen Lutcher's defense step up, cause a turnover. Can we get Vandebilt maybe to do the same?
Yeah, Fairchild was first in on that. He just bottled it up. You know, Charles is shown to be very athletic, but he couldn't get to that outside. Well, he has got to get tired at the end of the football game. He runs to the sideline, runs back, and talks to the wide receivers on the opposite side of the field before he calls for the ball. Little swing pass to the outside, and Terriers bottle that up. He goes nowhere. Nice play by number 55, Keith Patterson.
Jalen Joseph on the reception.
No, and Steve, I can tell you, being down here back on the sideline with the field, you know, I mentioned earlier how good quality the field was before the rain started. It's still holding up pretty good, but you can definitely feel a difference in the slickness of the field. So I'm noticing that both teams' wide receivers are keeping their feet under them a little bit better, which is kind of slowing them down a little bit, which I think is causing a little bit of that struggle.
Charles calls for the football. He rolls right. Logan Email in pursuit. He got a hand on the ball, and it's intercepted by Vandebilt. Nice interception by number 8, Jaden Coleman. And he is running. Did he fumble?
No, he's down.
No, he's down. Awesome.
Well, there's the response on defense that we just mentioned. right after the quick
Jaden
change
Coleman
of
on the
possession,
interception gets it
Vanderbilt's
back to the
defense
Terriers.
bears back and
Returns it
says,
all
you
the
know what,
way
offense,
inside
I got
the
you back.
30-yard line.
Well,
We'll
Brett,
get it back.
very similar to what happened to Henne on his throw. He threw it a little quick. Logan Email bearing down on from the safety position or the corner position, bearing down on Charles, and I think when he came back, he felt Logan right on him, and he just had to get rid of it, and he threw it into traffic. Coleman made an outstanding interception.
Yeah, look,
a nice run back.
Oh yeah, no, they've got their offense set up in well within, as we mentioned during the halftime, they're already within field goal range for Vanderbilt's kicking squad, and I can tell you, like you said, Email just undercut that underthrown pass, similar to what we saw on the other side.
Coleman. Email was in pursuit. All right, we got Henne. Hands it off to Thibodeau. He's trying to take it to the outside, and he's able to sidestep and picks up about 2 yards.
Thibodeau tries to go outside, manages to pick up a yard or two.
You know, it looked like he was going to be bottled up in the backfield, so positive yardage of even 1 yard is not a bad thing on that one.
Yeah, down here, and you're basically in the red zone, and all safety is all paramount right now. So you want to be aggressive, you want to go get that 7, but like we said earlier, just don't shoot yourself in the foot. Let's keep one play at a time and keep on schedule.
Man in motion, and he takes a snap. He's going to run that quarterback draw again. This time he's bottled up. Big number 72 in the middle again, Caden Parquette. That guy's just hard to block. He is outstanding. He is all over the field, and he's able to pick up about 3 yards. It's going to be 3rd and 7.
Yeah, see,
26-yard line. That's 28-yard line.
I'll tell you, being down here at field level, Steve, looking at Parquette, number 72 for Lutcher, I'm going to call out a name that most New Orleans Saints fans are going to remember. His body style, obviously not as tall, obviously, but his body type and structure looks a lot like a Leroy Glover back in the day.
Well, that's a very high compliment there, Brett. You do.
Well, just his body style. I'm not telling you he's a Leroy Glover.
All right, Henne back to pass, and oh gosh, I was trying to throw that screen up the middle to Thibodeau, but he kind of threw it up. He was lucky that ball wasn't intercepted, but he was under a lot of duress. Actually, I was pretty impressed that they didn't call holding because they had a guy bearing down, offensive lineman. Looked like he had a hold of his jersey, but hey, we're very fortunate. We're going to get to see that field goal that we were talking about, that we were watching at halftime. He's on the side to push instead of pull, so let's see if he can keep this one straight. But he is at the 33-yard line, so it's 43-yarder. He's definitely got the leg. We saw him at halftime. Let's see if he can get it up and get it in. Ball is down, kick is up. It looks like it is going to be so wide right and a little bit short. So much different whenever there's a rush in your face.
Yeah, I could tell, Steve, like I said, being down here, you talked about it at halftime, just the sound that it makes when they make that contact with the ball. I didn't hear the normal thud that you hear. I don't know if he was unable to maybe get clean contact, but it was definitely, based upon what we were watching in pregame and at halftime, within his range in terms of distance. I just don't know, maybe he didn't get quite right contact on that ball.
Well, another missed opportunity for the Terriers, but you know, they were able to avoid it on after their turnover. They got one back. Nobody's worse for the wear. We're 6:14 left in the third quarter, 7-0. Just got an update. Destrehan is up on Terrebonne, 27-21. Close game over at Tiger Stadium.
We've been talking about the weather affecting our game here. I'm very interested to see how that affects the game. Like you said, right down the street, we've been mostly a defensive struggle here, but we mentioned earlier that seemed to be an offensive struggle. So we'll see how the weather and the foggy feel affects that offense.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, I want to tell you the public schools in Terrebonne Parish have all gone to turf.
Okay, so that'll make a big difference for them in terms of field conditions.
That does make a big difference when you play it on turf. All right, Lutcher brings out their offense. Number 11, Taryn Charles at quarterback, the freshman. He's had a good game. He's made some good throws, hasn't been able to connect on any long ones, but he's shown the ability to throw it like that. So we have got to make sure that they do not take the top off of our defense here. Ball back. He fumbled the snap, and he's going to take off running and make that into positive yards. Picked up about 5 yards. Great play by Charles right there to make something out of nothing. Whenever you do that, it kind of puts everybody out of position just a little bit because they start looking at the ball.
Yes, you mentioned the quarterback poise earlier as a freshman. That's one way you just don't know what's going to happen.
And they run the ball right up the middle for a gain of 10. We have not seen much of that. They have not had much success up the middle, but they're in a little bit of a hurry-up offense now, and I think they're just kind of catching us off guard. Another run up the middle for 7. I know you don't really want to burn a timeout right here and talk about things. You just want to step up.
Bring up second about 3.
We got a player who lost his helmet.
All right, no huddle again. I wonder if they're just going to keep running it up the middle till we stop them. It looks like they are. Oh, nice play.
Nice tackle.
Beautiful play right there by Crash Menard. We talked about him earlier.
Stops that play for a loss.
Yeah, Menard was in the backfield just as the running back took the handoff.
Outside linebacker position, but, man, he was in the backfield quick on that one. He's a very instinctive football player.
Yeah, he almost looked like he could have took the handoff on that play. He was there so fast.
He's only a sophomore. All right. They're in the same formation. Brett, I don't know if you noticed, they got number 72, the defensive lineman, Parquette, in at fullback. And Charles is going to take it up the middle, and Vandebilt's able to stop him for virtually no gain unless they don't blow this play dead. Picked up about 2. They're going to have a 4th and 3 on their side of the 50.
Well, there's that swarming defense of Vandebilt that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, I can't tell you who made the tackle because I think there were 7 of them, but Parquette was in there as a fullback. It looks like they're going to go for it here. Now, it's a little bit shorter than I thought. It's only going to be 4th and about 1.5 yards. Parquette in again at fullback. We're going to see if this is a trick play, pooch punt, throw it long, or if they're just going to try and continue to run. And that's Charles up the middle. He's going to get the first down. Was able to find a hole. Vandebilt helped him out, helped him gain about 5 yards when he got hit from behind.
Yeah, there was at least 4 or 5 missed tackles on that one. But that's a good run by Lutcher's quarterback, just getting in the hole and getting north and south. None of that east-west stuff. Just get up. You need 1 yard. Get upfield and let's get the first down if you are a Lutcher fan.
Yeah, and you look at what's hurt Vandebilt is mistakes, and right now Lutcher's just not making any. There's no turnover, no penalty. They're just grinding the ball and taking it right to us. We're going to have to figure out a way to just clog that middle. But, Charles is dangerous, so, again, another run up the middle. That's going to pick up 4 yards. You got to be aware that he's going to fake that hand. Like we set them up on our touchdown, he's going to fake that handoff at one point, and he's going to throw that ball deep. You've got to be aware.
Yeah, you got to wonder if Vanderbilt's got some fatigue setting in here because early on, right up the middle, Lutcher was getting nothing, stuffed every time, and now it seems like every down they're getting 3 to 4, 5, maybe even 6 yards a carry at this point.
Yeah, it's 2nd and 6 right now. A little different formation for them. 1 running back instead of 2. A quick pitch to the inside to Jackson again. Stark.
Stark receives a little
and Stark picks up the ball, picks up a couple. It looks like he's going to be just a little short. Be about 3rd and 2.
Here we go, 3rd down.
Lutcher's kind of slowed down a little bit for a while there. They were in a hurry-up offense, but they seem to be slowing it down, being a little bit more methodical now.
Yeah, I think they had in the big fullback, and they were just handing it. We stopped it, so let's go to more traditional. But this may be 4-down territory for them at 3rd and 2. Oh, that's first down. He got to the outside, and he picked up big gain. Gained about 15, 18 yards down to the 20-yard line.
About 12 yards, good for a first down.
That was a touchdown-saving tackle by number 3 for the Terriers.
That's email stuff.
If he didn't make that tackle, that was going to be sick for Lutcher, no doubt.
That was just a straight handoff. Took it, he looked up the middle, took it to the outside, found the hole, and he's got some speed. All right, got 4 wide receivers, no backs in the backfield, tight end. Takes the handoff, Charles up the middle for a quarterback sneak, and picks up about 3,
Charles
2 or
on the
3.
keeper goes nowhere after Xavier Moses takes him down.
Now, you got to wonder, Steve, as many times as they keep running their quarterback, it's how much punishment can he stand? I can tell you, getting up off the field, he looked a little ginger on that one, a little slow getting up, so you hope he's okay. But
yeah, that was Keith Patterson, number 55. I mean, he took him down pretty hard, and Charles, as a freshman, he's not a real big guy. He's a little slight of frame, but he's going to take this ball, he's going to throw it deep, and that is almost intercepted. Oh. Wow, good defensive play by Caleb Troxler.
Yeah, that went through Troxler's hands, and actually, Lutcher, receiver, I thought for a second was going to catch it on the ricochet, but luckily for the Terriers and their fans, he was unable to complete the catch.
Yeah, he's very fortunate that ball was a little underthrown. That would have been a nice defensive stop right there if we could have got that. But they're looking at 3rd and long. About 3rd and about 8. They've got that formation with the fullback in, and everybody runs to the right side, and that's Charles up the middle. It looks like he's got enough for the first down. Down to about the 9-yard line.
The right tackle. And it is a first down inside the 10-yard line at the 9. It'll be 1st and goal for the Bulldogs.
Well-designed play. He followed the 2 running backs off right tackle, and they just had enough offensive guys blocking enough defensive guys. And Vandebilt's going to grab a timeout right here, kind of regroup and see what they can do to keep them out the end zone. Lutcher seems to have found the formula. Running the ball is working for them right now.
Yeah, they've turned it up on this drive. But Steve, look, while we got a timeout on the field, for our viewers out there, I'm down on the sideline. We interviewed, and we got to see a great Vandebilt a little earlier, a Terrebonne Parish great, Elijah McGuire. Here live on the sideline, I just got a chance to say hello to Philip Livas. We talked about guys in our area that are just different talent levels, and he's one that definitely fits into that mold as well.
Yep, Philip Livas was a great running back. And I think he had a little bit of time. He was a free agent, or did he get drafted?
He was an undrafted free agent, spent some time in Miami, spent some time in New York for a minute, I believe. But he's one of those kids, as we talked about Elijah earlier, just a different talent level. When you see him on the field at this high school level, you just know he's going to be a player at the next level.
Yeah, he was very exciting to watch at South Terrebonne.
Yeah, and I got to say hello to him for a second. I asked him, how it felt to be here to support his friend Elijah McGuire on a special night for him, and he said, he got a personal invite from the family and wouldn't miss it, and said he was here to support his friend and on a great night and a proud night for his family.
All right, Lutcher is taking the field. It looks like they've got Parquette in again. So you've got the quarterback, you've got a defensive lineman at fullback, and you've got their big tailback. And I think Lutcher's just going to try and continue to pound this ball in. So that's Charles with the snap, hands it off to the tailback, and Vandebilt's defense is there. No gain. Excellent job by the Terriers of stopping that.
Didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, just another example of a swarming defense. We've seen defensive linemen here for the Terriers just stiffen up their back and say, look, if you're going to try to run up the middle, earlier we were letting it through, but when it comes time for crunch time, we're going to stiffen our back and say we're keeping you out of this end zone.
That was middle linebacker Keith Patterson again. He's had quite a few tackles. They're running up the middle, and it's almost like they're saying, you fill the hole, and he did a good job. Same formation. Charles takes a snap this time, follows the guys to the right. That was the play that they had gotten big yards on, and that time it went nowhere. That was Crash Menard.
Charles on the ground.
And he took him to the ground hard.
Well, that is a textbook linebacker tackle. Just picked him up, drove him to the ground, stopped him at his track, met him in the hole. It's just a fantastic defensive tackle.
Well, they got the ball on the 6-yard line. We're going to end third quarter just ended. Scoreless quarter, 7-0. They're going to switch sides of the field. 12 minutes to go. You couldn't ask for more in this football game. These two teams are giving it everything on the field.
Yeah, this is a game where no matter what the result, both coaching staffs are going to have to get their guys in the locker room and on the bus home for Lutcher and just say, guys, look, you gave it everything you could. Well, no matter what the result, you got to be proud of your team, the effort. You know, obviously you hope to come out on the winning side of this, but you just can't fault the effort here by both teams.
Well, this will be interesting. You know, I did not see any of Lutcher's kickers out there pregame or at halftime. I don't know what they've got. Their kicker has pooched it when he did kick. So you don't know if they have an extra point guy, a field goal guy. Maybe they do. We just haven't seen anything. So, you know, are they going to try and throw, or are they going to go with the stacked backfield again? It looks like they're going stacked backfield again, same exact formation.
All right,
Charles
here we go.
at quarterback,
Third and goal.
Marquette at fullback,
Down.
and number 6, Coy Ruiz, who is listed as a linebacker at running back. You know, they've got like a jumbo package, and this is the third time. Exact same formation. But do they throw out of it this time? Do you run a quick slant to a wide receiver? You know, when you're the inside safeties, I'm looking at the defense. You know, you're susceptible here to a quick slant. Those guys have to decide, am I jumping in to help on the run, or do I step back and peek and get caught looking to see if a pass is coming?
Yeah, it's a 3rd and 6. Let's see if Vanderbilt's defense is stiffing here.
All right, it looks like a running play. Charles around the right side, and he is stopped by Crash Bernard. And no, that looks like Coleman. And a host of other Terriers. So he got down to about the 3-yard line, and they are bringing in their kicker.
Yeah, that's a great job by Vanderbilt's defense. Bringing it out. You use that sideline as your 12th man and just force him out. This is a great job. Like we said earlier, just in a close game like this, if you can keep them out of the end zone, hold them to a field goal attempt, and try to get this ball back, I mean, that's the best you can ask for when you're in this position.
All right, well, you got a little pressure here. You're in the fourth quarter. You're down 7-0. Field might be just a little bit slick. And calls for the ball. It's down. Kick is up, and it is good. So it is 11:06 remaining. 7-3 Terriers. Now you start to feel a little bit of heat. You've got to get a score here. You've got to at least get 3. You'd love to get 7. You know, if they could get another 7, you got to feel real good about our position. But look, Lutcher just took the ball and ran it down our throats for about 70 yards. So it's going to be really hard for the defense to come back and recover from that. You know, they're going to have to rest. They're going to have to go to that big TV down there that I talked about. You know, what are they doing? They're doing this every time out of this formation.
Yeah, we're only a minute, not even quite a minute into the fourth quarter. And like you said, it seems like, especially down here on the field, you can see Lutcher's team and fans that's traveled with them a little excited, maybe trying to steal the momentum here. Luckily for Vanderbilt's fans and their team, held them to a field goal. But you can kind of definitely start to feel a momentum shift a bit. So we'll see if Vanderbilt's offense can respond.
You know, Lutcher's tried the pooch kick a couple times. I'm not sure if they just don't have the confidence, or if they're afraid to kick to somebody. But you know, you just never know what they're going to do. So Vanderbilt hopefully has. You know, I'm looking. They don't have a lot of really big guys on their kick receiving team. It looks like they're all hands guys. So hopefully somebody gets this and can return it, even if it is a pooch kick.
Yeah, we'll see here. This is our, besides the opening kickoff for the second half, our first deep kick, potentially, of the second half. We'll see if the field conditions, like we keep saying, with the rain that we had right before half and through the halftime period, how does it affect it? You can definitely see it getting a little bit choppy now, but.
You know, it's amazing, Brett. I'm looking, the guy next to the kicker on the right side is Parquette. He plays offense, he plays defense, and now he is on the kick team.
Well, when you've got a kid with talent and he can do anything, when you're down in the fourth quarter, say, son, I need you to strap your helmet on and go make me a play, and I think that's what they're trying to do.
Well, Vanderbilt was fortunate they let that go, and it just skipped into the end zone because it hit on about the 5. If it would have stopped, that could have been disastrous by not fielding that kick. But dodged the bullet. They've got the ball out at the 20-yard line. 1st and 10, 11:06 left, 7-3 Vanderbilt. And, this drive's extremely important.
Yeah, this is one where if you're Vanderbilt's offense, look, at a bare minimum, can we get in the field goal range and take back those 3 points that Lutcher was able to get there and seize back the momentum? Obviously, you'd love to be in the end zone, but can at least get into field goal range.
And he takes the ball, and he's going to run with it, and, that looked like a little bit of a horse collar, but they did not call it, and he looks a little ticked as he zings the ball to the official, who made a nice catch.
Hey, refs are people too.
Did you see what I saw? He was not happy. He was not happy about that.
He was definitely a little perturbed, as we may say.
Yeah, he got grabbed up around the neck, and they'll call horse collar from the back. But I thought if your hands got kind of towards those pads, they would call it from the front, but they didn't. But it's 2nd and 10, no gain. Man in motion for the Terriers. Gets set. Calls for the ball. And he looks like he's going to throw the ball back shoulder to... And he caught it.
Complete.
Nice catch by Peyton Carter.
Carter.
It looks like he picked up just enough for the first down. We talked about it earlier. He got to the defensive back with his back turned like he was going on a deep route, was able to turn back on a back shoulder, toe touch, and great play.
Yeah, Carter able to slam on the brake there, and cornerback was still in his back pedal, so able to shed him a little bit and get a toe tapper along the sideline. So that was outstanding concentration.
All right, Henny with the ball and keeps it up the middle again. This time he's able to pick up a few yards, and he gets out across the 40 to about the 42. Looks like he's got enough for the first down again. Pickup of 10.
Steve, I don't know if maybe Vanderbilt has our broadcast being piped into their locker room or something, but I like to see Henny making me correct by calling all these quarterback runs. Obviously, Vanderbilt's a big supporter of HTV, so I'm assuming they're watching our broadcast right now.
Of course, that broadcast brought to you by Terrebonne General Sports, Community Sports Institute, Barker Honda, and Barker Kia. And that ball was a handoff around the left side to Bryce Thibodeau. Is hard fought 2 yards.
Good for about 4 yards.
Yeah, that's a play.
4 yards.
We've been crediting Vanderbilt's defensive line for swarming. That was a good job on Lutcher's side, just swarming to the ball carrier. And Steve, I'll give you one guess who was the lead tackler on that play.
Well, you didn't have to tell me. He was actually just moved back behind the ball. He was still kind of standing around like, yeah, I made that tackle. Number 72. He's got that number and that gold and purple. He looks like Glenn Dorsey to me from up here, Brett.
Yep. Similar body size like I talked about earlier.
Got Klingman in motion. And he claps, gives it back to Thibodeau. He cuts it on the inside, tries to go back outside, and it goes nowhere. Pickup of 0. That's going to put us in a 3rd and 7, 3rd and 6. And this is an important down right here. Because, look, this clock's been moving. I mean, we're already down to 8:58. You don't want to punt and have the chance of them scoring a touchdown, and then you basically are in a position where you've got to score your touchdown.
Yeah, you're basically at midfield here, and you got to wonder, okay, we've got 3rd and 7. What are Vanderbilt's coaches going to call here? Because like you said, and every first down basically takes off about 2 minutes off the clock. So,
Henny back to throw. It looks like he's a little indecisive, but he gets the ball and he's going to run. And he dives. He might be
Henny on the keeper.
I'm looking at the official on
he's signaling.
Yeah, he's taking the first down, and that was all Henny. Henny looked to pass. It wasn't a design run. Nobody was open, and when he took off, he put his head down. And, Brett, that's where quarterback to slide would not have made that. He took the hit about 2-3 yards before the marker, and he just kept driving and dove for that first down. Great gutsy play by Henny.
Yeah, that's a leader on the field when he knows, hey, guys, look, it's getting down to the end of the game here. I've got to make a play to keep my team on the field. That's what you like to see from your leader.
Hand off of Bryce Thibodeau up the middle. He breaks it, and nice 15-yard pickup
Find
from
someone up
Thibodeau
the
to the
middle.
31-yard line.
About 15 yards and
Outstanding.
another smoothie king.
Just was able to
First down.
slice right through the defense. Great blocking by the offensive line.
Louis on
I'm
the
watching
stop
the
for
replay. I mean, he
Bulldogs.
had a big hole on that one. He found it and just cut it up.
Yeah, that was an outstanding inside run, which we haven't seen a ton of in the second half. First half, Vanderbilt was able to run inside, but not so much here in the second half. But he's able to get between the tackles and get downhill and actually get a good gain here.
Ball back, another handoff, and he's going to cut it to the outside this time. And nice spin move, pick up 4 yards.
Nice hard run here from Vanderbilt. Like I said, just stay on schedule. Can you get that 4 yards to carry, 4 yards to play indefinitely? Obviously you want to punch it in here, but like I said, every first down basically starts. You guarantee at least a minute or two coming off the clock. We're coming down here. At the next snap will be under 7 minutes in the fourth.
That was Jay Smith with a nice 5-yard pickup. Just got word, Terrebonne, it's 34-28. Destrehan leading Terrebonne. That game must be in the fourth quarter, but it's tightening up over there at Tiger Stadium. And he's got the ball. Looks like he's back to pass, and he throws a nice ball up the middle. Threw it a little bit behind his receiver, LePere. So that'll bring up a 3rd and 5.
That's one where, see, we talked about it earlier in the game where you're setting up this defense. You run, and then they start expecting runs, so you try to sneak a pass behind them, and unfortunately just a bit of an inaccurate pass just off the fingertips of his wide receiver. But unfortunately for the Terrors, it also stops the clock.
And look, it's tough right here. You got 6:39, you got a 3rd and 5 in no man's land again. If you try to kick a field goal from right here, it's a 44-yarder. You just missed that. You can, but he's now missed 2. So Henny's going to take it himself, try and get a few yards, gets up the sideline. He's not going to get to the first down marker. He got it up to the 25-yard line. That would be a 42-yard field goal from right here. I would not be surprised if Vanderbilt just goes for it. They put it in their jumbo package or not.
On the tackle
or so. I'm not sure who's coming in, who's going out. Yep, they're leaving Henny in.
Yep, this part in the field, like we saw the kicker earlier, just come up a bit short and a bit wide right.
Yeah, so Brett, I think what just happened is we're doing what they did. We got number 99, who's not listed as a running back and fullback. We'll see if we're trying to draw him off sides right here, but if not, we got 99, so we got, oh, no, Henny's going to throw the ball. Oh, no, he's going to tuck it and run, but he's got the first down. Henny down the sideline, puts his head down, and he is in for the touchdown. He said, Henny, touchdown play. Outstanding vision, field vision for him, and he was not going to be denied. He took that man on the goal line.
That is an outstanding play by the Terriers offense. Look, I got to give a shout-out to the Terriers coaching staff having the guts to call that kind of play. Basically, with your game on the line, I'm gonna drop back and potentially throw a pass. Henny able to read the defense, seeing all the defensive players, linebackers, safeties, cornerbacks dropping, and says, you know what? I'm going to take this with myself, fellas. Don't worry about it. I got it.
Yeah, Brendan, look, it's the chess game. So you watch Lutcher, and that is good, 14-3. You watch Lutcher put in their jumbo package and run. So we put in our jumbo package, so Lutcher's defensive line is thinking run. So, he faked the handoff to the tailback. He takes a couple steps back. Nobody's open, but everybody's bunched in the middle, so he was able to cut it to the left, and he took it all the way down the sidelines. I mean, everybody was bunched in thinking we were running it up the middle, but, man, that poor safety, Henny just put his head down. Henny put his hand on his back, threw him to the ground, dove into the end zone. Outstanding. It's exactly what you need with 5 minutes and 45 seconds left. You are now up 2 scores.
That play, Steve, is a good example of, like I said, I wanted to give the shout-out to the coaches of Vanderbilt, where you got to know your opponent's tendencies, but you also got to know your own tendencies. So you set them up all game. You're running, and they think, okay, fourth and a few inches, definitely they're going to run here. But you drop back, and now all the defensive players are scrambling, trying to find their assignments, and guess what? Your quarterback's looking at them the whole time, seeing those guys bail out. So he says, you know what, I'm going to just turn around and run myself, guys. I got it. So that's outstanding, number one, play calling and outstanding athleticism by your quarterback.
Yeah, and if you're a school like Nicholls State University down the street, you got a 6'4", 215-pound guy who's proven he can throw, who is now proven he can run his way out of pressure, run on a design run his way out of pressure. Why wouldn't you look at an Ethan Henney? I mean, I go to a lot of Nicholls football games, and this guy has what it takes to be a quarterback at the next level.
Yeah, and like we said, we've said all game, I can't recall, he may have one interception, so obviously one bad decision, but overall, every play he's had the ball in his hands, he's making good decisions, and at the quarterback position, that's all you can ask for. Look, just take care of the ball, don't put us in bad positions, make good decisions, and we'll win the game more than likely.
And look, everybody's begging for Nussmeier to do that on LSU's level. He just hasn't been able to do that. And we got another squib kick, and that ball is fielded at 35-yard line. Vandebilt swarm. We're holding him short of the 40, 39-yard line to start. Somebody's got a flag. It looks like, I don't know if it's going to be a double foul or if it looks like it's on Vandebilt.
I think you're going to get it on number 1 on Vandebilt here, just for unsportsmanlike conduct.
Yep.
Terriers.
Face mask.
Face mask, yep.
Well, that's big. That's going to get them on the other side of the 50-yard line.
Yeah, that's one of those we just talked about when you talk about your quarterback a second ago, your leader just not making mistakes. That's one where players and coaches are going to be kicking themselves later on and saying, guys, look, crunch time, we can't make those kind of mistakes. We could potentially cost ourselves later.
And look, that's not even in the field of play. I mean, it's in the middle of the field on a pooch kick, 15 yards down the field. So what are you grabbing a face mask for? That's a frustration move. You got to be better than that. That's a senior Moses. He's got to know that you just can't do that. Quarterback rolls out to the left. He's going to throw it to the middle, and receiver dropped the ball. Very fortunate. Charles had a nice throw, put it a little bit lower, I think, than the receiver wanted. Put it at his waist, not at his shoulder pads, and wasn't able to hold on. He was turned at a very awkward angle. So that was a 2nd and 10 from the 47. 5:33 left. If you can hold here, you got to feel very comfortable about our chances.
Yeah, from my field of vision here, I was a little surprised Charles didn't tuck that one and run it. It appeared he had some room, maybe pick up 4, 5, maybe 6 yards, but he chose to go for the pass, and we'll see how Vanderbilt's defense here plays on a 2nd and 10 with just under 6 minutes to go.
Charles hands the ball off the middle, and he's got some room to the outside, cuts it back to the inside, and it looks like he's got enough for the first down.
Joseph on the carry.
I think right at 10 yards. Yep. Nope, 3rd down. 3rd down and about a half a yard.
They're going up tempo here.
Xavier Moses and Coleman on the tackle.
Oh, that was a nice penetration by Moses, but he missed. Running back 0. Joseph was able to take it to the outside, cut it outside, picked up nice gain, got the ball inside the 30 on the 27, still going up tempo. Oh, and that looks like, that was, I tell you what, defensive back would love to have that one back because that was Coleman. That ball was just kind of thrown out to the middle of the field, and he was a little late on the break. I think he was a little surprised that that's where the ball went.
Yeah, it looks like Lutcher's trying to take advantage of the quick snap there, trying to catch Vandebilt maybe napping, maybe looking at the sideline for a defensive call.
Well, look, Lutcher, they were hurry up, and now they just slowed it down on the incomplete pass. They're down 2 scores with 4 minutes and 56 seconds left, so they've got to make something happen and make it happen quick. Charles got the ball. He's rolling left. They love rolling him to the left. He takes the ball up the field, and he was hit pretty hard, but after a nice pickup of about 7.
He did a good job.
6-5.
Good job of clearing out the traffic there. He was turned back up into the field. Had a lot of guys around him, but he did a good job of picking up some yardage there. But let's see if Vanderbilt's defense here can stand up on 3rd down and maybe hold them out.
And look, the clock's running. They're taking a lot of time. You're already down to 15 seconds left on the 40-second clock. Finally got the snap with 4:20. Vanderbilt outstanding by Fairchild. He shot the gap and he stopped that run for. Now, I don't know how much of a loss. No loss. He caught him at the line of scrimmage and threw him back 5 yards. It looked a lot better because that was a hard tackle, and that was a great fill Great fill in the gap.
Yeah, Fairchild just met him. To look face-to-face, face mask to face mask right in the hole on that one. So no choice here. Lutcher's got to go for it.
There's the play of the game. It's 4th down and 5 with 3 minutes and 45 seconds left. Lutcher doesn't get it here. There's Vandebilt. The way that they've been playing, they're going to run the ball. I think Lutcher called a timeout a little bit earlier. No, they did not. They still have 3 timeouts left. Vandebilt called a timeout. But, if you can be up 2 scores and have the ball with 3 minutes left, you're going to be in pretty good shape.
Yeah. I actually like the call here by Vandebilt. Like you said, this potential the play of the game here. Call a timeout. We're up 2 scores. Let's get our guys in the right call, right position that we need to be in to maybe hold these guys out of the end zone and at least prevent the first down. So good play by the coaching staff.
Yeah, I mean, you've got only 1 timeout left, but when you look at the score and the time, if we need that timeout at the end of the game, it's because we're in trouble. And so this is a good use of the timeout because right now we're not in trouble, but you don't want to make a bad call right here on defense.
Yeah. This is one where I can imagine Vandebilt coaching staff in the huddle telling guys, hey, guys, look, let's safeties, cornerbacks, maybe let's dig our heels on the first down marker, and let's keep everything in front of us, make them force to throw underneath, and rally up and make a tackle. And if you do that, see, with 3:39 left in the 4th quarter, you're basically you're kneeling on a ball. Not quite kneeling, but you're in great shape.
You're going to at least get them to waste their 3 timeouts, still down 2 scores. All right, big play of the game right here. You got Charles in the shotgun, drops back. It looks like he's going to throw the ball, and he's under a lot of pressure. Moses was able to get a hand on it. Charles throws the ball down the middle of the field, and that is
incomplete.
Wow. Threw that into the middle of the field. It looked like he had a receiver for a second. Vanderbilt's defensive backs were able to break on the ball. Big play by the Vanderbilt defense. Moses had a good beeline on him for a sack, but Charles' very nifty feet was able to escape, get the ball down where he needed to in the end zone. But you got to give the Vanderbilt defense a lot of credit. They were in the backfield, and their defensive backfield did everything they needed to do in coverage.
Yeah, Vanderbilt's defense did exactly what they needed to do there. I was in the back of the end zone watching this play develop, and I saw number 5, that's the player for Lutcher, the wide receiver, who flashed open for just a second. Quarterback probably was a little bit too late, missed it on the throw, but Vanderbilt's defense weren't there. It could have been a back shoulder pass, but their cornerbacks and safeties rallied and able to force the incomplete pass.
And look, it was a little bit late because he was running for his life. Moses had shot the gap up the middle and got him off center, and so he was scrambling, wasn't able to set his feet, which is why the ball hung up in the air just a little bit too long.
Yeah, and number 5, the wide receiver for Lutcher, who unfortunately for their fans and their staff, dropped the ball. Stayed down on the field a little bit, so that's why our viewers are seeing Vandebilt and Lutcher both taking knees, so we hope the kid's okay. And he was able to get up on his own power and jog off, so hopefully he'll be okay.
Yeah, so, right here you should see a very steady dose of Henny and Thibodeau running the ball. I would tell you up the middle, you don't even take the chance of going towards the sideline. Use your big offensive line. You can see Lutcher stack in the middle, but make them waste their timeouts even if you got to punt. You got to do what you got to do. There's Thibodeau up the middle, and he cuts it to the outside, cuts it back up. Might have no gain. Lutcher calls a timeout. Wasted a few seconds, down to 3:20. No harm, no foul.
Yeah, this is what you got to do. This is how you win a football game, how you close out a football game. You've got to force them to call their timeout. Let's just keep running the ball. You got a ball control here. Hopefully don't put it in the air where you can risk an incomplete pass. Allow them to save a timeout. So if you can force them, obviously you love to get a first down here, but at worst, let's make them use 3 timeouts and punt it and play field position up 2 scores.
Yeah, this is just good, smart football. You heard Brian Kelly the first couple of games, like against Florida and against Clemson. He kind of admitted that they were playing just to win the game, not necessarily to put it out of reach. They were doing all the smart things. You go back to 2019 LSU, and Joe Burrow's throwing the ball in that situation.
Yeah.
When you got that special of a player, you can make those decisions. But a good, solid football team. Excuse me. This is how you play football. This is how you win the game.
Right. When you've got an offensive staff like LSU had in 2019, when you've got, I believe, 6 or 7 draft picks in the NFL. That's a little bit different skill set than most teams. So, yeah.
It was. It was fun to watch because it was so different than you had ever seen before. I mean, LSU's putting the ball up right here to try and score again. You know, it's like, you just couldn't figure him out. It's just what made him so great.
Right. They just sheer talent all over the field. Just you never know what's coming, running, passing. You just didn't know, and that's just a different skill set. Depending on who you talk to, that's either number 1 or number 2 greatest college football team ever assembled, and that's saying something.
Brett, we're from Louisiana. It's number 1. Don't even go down that road. All right, you got Henne. Oh, Class got the snap. It fumbled the snap in the air a little bit, but was able to hold on to it, thankfully.
And
took 5 seconds off. I'm not sure if he was going to hand that off or he was going to keep it, but we're down to a 3rd and 11.
Yeah, third and 11, 3 minutes and 15 seconds. Like we keep saying, this is just Terriers trying to play winning football. Let's force them to use timeouts and be smart and play field position.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I think one thing that worries me, it's why I'm glad we're up 2 scores, is if we have to punt the football. You know, they've already shown the ability. They have some game breakers back there. So, that is going to be one of the issues if you punt. Do you punt out of bounds and just let it be a short punt and take chances? But let's hope we're able to open it up right here and get to 3rd and 11, and then the game's over.
Yeah, I'm down here right by the kicking team for Vandebilt, both the punter and the field goal kicker, and they've been practicing, number 1, grip on the ball for the punter, being with the wet field conditions. When you have a wet field, that means you're going to have a wet ball most of the time. So he's been practicing his grips, and just in case he needs to punt here, if the Terriers are unable to make this 3rd and 11.
Yeah, you almost, I saw Nicholls State do this a bunch of times in their first game of the year in the Incarnate Word, is they would keep their quarterback on the field and just line him up in the shotgun and do the quick punt, because that way it just caught them off guard. Like, Incarnate Word really could not figure out what Nicholls was doing. They did it 3 times, and it was successful all 3 times. I know that'd be a lot. Not sure Henne even has that skill set, but, you gotta just consider everything in a game like this. All right, they hand the ball off to Thibodeau, and he takes it around. He cuts it up the field. Looks like he's going to get about 7 up to the 31. It's going to be 3rd and 5.
Good block. But it'll bring up
4th and 5. Well, oh, wow. It's a lot closer. I have been struggling to see because the chains are all the way across the field, and the guy who's holding the down marker is really slow. So I cannot figure out the right down and distance, or the right distance. But, so here's the thing. You've got to punt this. You cannot take the chance.
Yeah, 4th and 2, especially on this position of the field. You're on your own side. I agree with you, Steve. There's no way you can risk this. You've got to punt it. Now, to your point, do you do what Nicholls did? You keep your quarterback. I don't know if our quarterback has that skill set for the pooch kick, but, when you talk about a punter who really has not been in the game except maybe once or so this evening.
He punted once.
Yeah. Do you keep your quarterback on there who's used to being short-handed, used to playing in that shotgun formation, and just used to handling the ball most of the game? So we'll see what the Terriers go with here.
Nope, they're going with their punter, and you got Ashton Stark back, who was the game breaker. Let's see if he just tries to sail it out of bounds. I mean, I think if you can get 20 yards of field position to the plus for you, that's a win. You just got to let your defense do what they do, and he does punt it over to the sideline. Gets a good roll. That's absolutely what you wanted. You got them on their side to 50. They've got to drive all the way down. They've only got 2:56 to do it. That was an outstanding punt.
Yeah, that's just, what I'm going to call smart football. You have a game breaker back to make the play, trying to get his team back in it. So what do? You angle it to the sideline. Like you say, can I get 20, 25, 30 yards of field position? I'll gladly trade that off.
They went from the third. Yeah, they got about 25 yards of field position, and that's great. Got the ball on the 46-yard line of Lutcher. Vandebilt's playing 3 deep safeties right now. 3 defensive linemen. 2 linebackers in. They're just going to try and play a little bit of prevent. Don't give up the big play. Maybe give them a couple first downs, but waste your time. And it looks like they got him bottled up. Fairchild's looking at him. He cuts it back up the field, and he looks like he's got down a little bit before the first down marker. He picked up 9. Clock still running. They're going to have to be in a hurry up. He's going to play a 2nd and 1 from the 45. They have to set up. Calls for the football. Oh, that's holding, but they missed it. He's the ball down the field, and good defensive tip right there. Looked like the defensive back all the way in the back had a chance at the interception, but he got tipped by the defensive back. But hey, we'll take it. 2:25 left, 3rd and 1. You know, he's got the arm to get it down to he threw that ball 50 yards. He's got the arm to get it down to the end zone.
Yeah, that's as a defensive play. That's what you practice all week. The tip drill. So just out.
That's the one good thing about high school, though. If you get interference in the end zone, it's only 15 yards. That's a big deal. It's the difference between NFL and high school. Even college is 15 yards. It's no spot foul. So, you know, if somebody, you might just need to grab if you need to grab. You just cannot give up the touchdown right here. Well, time running down, though, as long as they wouldn't get an onside kick, he's going to heave it downfield again, and it's complete.
Wow.
About a 30-yard pickup. Clock will stop on the first down, 2:05. That was Coy Ruiz. Well, number 5, I'm sorry. Marcel Simon.
That was right down the seam.
Charles trying to pick. Great defense by Vandebilt.
Charles on the keeper gets a couple, then gets Pele closer to about the 7.
Great tackle by number 99, Thomas LaCon.
I don't know what. I didn't get the license plate number of the bus that hit that kid just now.
And
he's out. He's out. He's out of bounds.
Well,
ref called it.
Complete on the sideline.
Okay. It looked like he was pointing down like it was complete on the goal line, but
3rd and goal.
Yeah, that was a great job by number 9 for Vandebilt. Wide receiver caught the pass, but he jumped up in the air, and number 9 for the Terriers forced him out of bounds before he could tap his feet.
Yep. A 3rd and about 7, 1:34 remaining. Charles rolling out to his right, and he's going to take it, and looks like
Charles, nobody to pass.
Pick up of 0, 4th down and 7. Well, picked up about a half a yard. Great defense by the Terriers. I saw a couple people in the end zone, but they were surrounded by gold jerseys.
Well, without a doubt, here's your play of the game. See, we said it a little earlier. This is without a doubt the play of the game.
Thanks once again to our sponsors for allowing us to do this outstanding game. Terrebonne General Community Sports Institute, Barker Honda, Barker Kia. Thank you very much. And we now have a timeout by the Terriers. Perfect time for a timeout. You got a 4th down. Give your kids a second to think about this. 1:26 left. We're up by 11. You got to feel pretty good about this.
Yeah, again, we mentioned it earlier, you know, just all night coaching staff making good decisions to put their players in great positions. So, once again, just like the last time we were down here a few minutes ago, when Vanderbilt was able to force the field goal, do you call timeout? Do you get your guys in right position? And Vanderbilt made the good decision, I believe, to do that. Let's coach them up one last time. Guys, this is what we need you to do. This is the play call. Let's do your job, and we'll get out of here with a victory.
And this would be a big victory. You know, as a district game, Lutcher has always been a tough out for us. So, you know, if you can get Lutcher out of the way right here. Got a couple more games coming up. You've got 5 games left for the year. Edie White, you got to look at them. But, you know, this gives you some momentum, some confidence to hang with the school quality football team that Lutcher is. All right, Charles calls for the ball. 4th down and 7 from the 7. Vanderbilt looks like, he fumbled the ball. Outstanding job by number 99.
Terriers take over on down.
Was in his face, did not allow him to throw the ball. Great defense by the entire Terrier team. He had nowhere to go, nowhere to throw. Pressure up the middle and good coverage in the back.
Yeah. Well, we've said it all night. Defensive linemen just penetrating all night, and I think there were more Terriers in the backfield than there were Bulldogs on that one. So Great job by the defense. Obviously called the timeout. Said, guys, look, let's get this. We got one more play to go, and the Terrier players stepped up and said, Coach, we got you.
Yeah, we said it at the beginning of the game. You know, I've been able to watch them. You look at the teams that they've played, you haven't been tested a lot. The defense has played great. This was going to be your test tonight, and I tell you, they came through.
Yep, and Steve, for a coaching staff and for an offense, the best play in football, victory formation.
And he's going to take a snap. No timeouts left. You love to see that. They were perfect in that last drive just to get those 3 timeouts wasted. So you take a knee, 40-second clock. You're going to have to do this 2 more times. But it's good to be able to do it 2 more times, and you're going to run off as a 5-0 Terrier football team.
Yeah, you can't ask for much more. You know, like we said earlier in the pregame and throughout the broadcast tonight, just a quality team like Lutcher coming down to Houma, a blue blood in the state that you always see around playoff time, around championship time, in addition to just playoffs. And you know what? As a Terrier, as a team, you got to be happy with what you did tonight, both offensively and defensively. A little bit of cleanup to do on special teams, but overall great there as well. But as a coaching staff, these guys got to be super excited.
Victory formation, you take that last knee, the excitement of those Terriers coming off the field, and this is what you got to love about high school football. The teams meet at the 50-yard line, giving handshakes, high fives, but let me tell you, nobody can go home with their head hanging low. This was a hard-fought football game, start to finish. Outstanding job by the Lutcher Bulldogs. Their defense played great, but Vandebilt's defense was just a little stronger, and our offense was just opportunistic.
Yeah, we mentioned it earlier in the broadcast. Just, you know, the way we saw the game started, the way we expected it to finish, just you can't be upset with your team. You know, Lutcher obviously leaving Buddy Marcello Stadium with an L, but for their coaching staff, they got to regroup tomorrow, and I'm sure they're going to tell their guys, look, guys, you played your hearts out, you played your guts out. I can't ask for much more than that. We got a little bit of things to clean up, but same thing on the Vandebilt side. They're going to meet as a staff tomorrow and clean up some tape, and I'm sure the coaching staff going to tell them the same thing, guys. You played your heart out, played your guts out. I can't ask for much more than that.
Yeah, I mean, you clean up the penalties. I think the score's just a little bit different, but not much. I mean, like I said, these teams are fairly even. Just got word from Terrebonne Stadium. It's 41-28, 1 minute left in the fourth. Destrehan leading, so that looks like a victory for the Destrehan Wildcats, and that'll drop Terrebonne, which I know is disappointing to them because they have a great season going.
Yeah, unfortunately for Terrebonne, you know, like we said earlier, just like Vandebilt did here, that you played a blue blood in the state of Louisiana, just came up a little bit short. So we'll keep rooting those guys on, but a great night for the Terriers here at Buddy Marcello Stadium, and you can see I'm still down here on the sideline. You can just see the excitement of these kids, like you said. Good sportsmanship, shaking hands at the 50-yard line, but just sheer elatement on the Vandebilt sideline right now.
Well, thanks again to the crew. Brett, thanks for you for helping out. Our camera people did a great job, especially with replays. We saw some nice replays. It's good to be able to have that ability for us. And thanks again to our sponsors, Terrebonne General Community Sports Institute, Barker Honda, Barker Kia. So that's it, 14-3 from Buddy Marcello Stadium. Vandebilt Catholic High School on top. They're going to leave tonight 5-0. So thank you all for watching.